Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution.
Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the.
I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Not surprisingly, the way that we began our 20-year anniversary with a big, giant announcement and bursting into a new place that welcomes us with open arms in Peacock is that we botch it. At the very beginning, we're talking about Ethel Merman. Dan Patrick can't hear us. Next thing you know, there's a dancing peacock in the room, and confetti is all over the floor, and poor Cynthia is cleaning it up. But Amin walks in here after yesterday's announcement. Amin, a professional communicator, a dear, dear friend, threw his immense career into our hands, and he comes in here today, and he's like, so we're not on Max anymore? Which is not correct in any way. Nothing. We made a big announcement that changes literally nothing for any of the people who previously listened to this show, joining Peacock and Sirius XM, so a new audience would listen to our show. It doesn't affect the people listening to this at all, except for the ones who got here a day ago and are like, you guys are on Peacock now and you're on Sirius XM?
Just to show our growth, I did get a text randomly from some random person in my life yesterday being like, hey, never seen you on here before. And it was Peacock. So we have grown our audience by one at least.
We've got a lot more than one, Chris. I had so many congratulations texts from
I did
people.
too.
You guys are on Peacock. I'm like, yeah, yes. Do I get a free subscription now? Is that how that works?
I've always kind of wondered that. Like with Max, too. Hey, Max audience, how are you?
Hey.
You're watching us now. Can you give me some like promo codes so I don't have to pay monthly, or what are we doing here? Come on now.
Well, you've always wondered that, but you were wondering a moment ago without remembering that the microphone has to be in your face when you're talking, which after 20 years of doing this, it is there now, but we are on a number of different places. And I would say something that is super new, obviously, as the media in general and new media tries to find its footing in a new time where an independent entity like this can go from audio show to television show while you're watching it happen. And now these are all the places that we're on, but this might not mean 5 of these things might not mean anything to any of you. And then the people who have been excluded there, I would say the other things matter deeply to them. So it's a lot of different audience. I didn't say that very well, I know.
I'm confused. I just gave you a because I don't really
I know. Well, that's
like,
how,
can you say it again?
Yes,
Is it clear?
This is what I realized. So yes, I will say it again. I'm about to tell you everywhere we're on. And it may only matter if you get one of those things and none of the others. None of the others will matter to you, just that one.
Got it. What he's saying, guys, is if you were like, for instance, all I do is listen to Sirius XM because I love Sirius XM NBA Radio. I love Amin Al-Hassan on Sundays with Jason Jackson, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. But you haven't, you don't have Peacock, you don't have Max, you don't have DraftKings Network, you don't have YouTube, you don't get podcasts.
We get it now.
All of a sudden, now you get it. It's like, whoa, where has this been all my life? For that segment of the population, this is great. Same thing for the Peacock people, same thing for the Max people, same thing for all the loyal people on DraftKings Network, and, of course, the podcast listeners. I like this, Dan. I like this angle you're taking. I'd like you to explore it more.
We just got a comment in the YouTube chat. Are you guys still going to be on YouTube?
Well, Stugotz's phone doesn't get YouTube, so not for him.
It doesn't. I mean,
I will tell you some of the places that we are on.
Okay.
Just some.
We should print out like a class schedule for everyone so they know exactly where we are and when to find us.
And
like,
tweet it and put it on Instagram.
Yeah, like
It's
how
a
like
great
the
idea.
first day of school or whatever, like in college or even high school, whatever, they tell you like, oh, Monday, here's where you are at this time and that time, and here's your Tuesday class and your Wednesday,
Schedule.
Thursday. We should do that so people know like, oh, Monday, find us from 2 to 6 a.m. on wherever it is that we're on, and here find us this day, this time, that place.
First period is YouTube.
Exactly
Second
right.
period's Max.
Yes.
And third period is the Peacock.
Except like most of the periods are all the same period too.
Yeah.
You can go
And
to
then
all the
they're
classes
all on
at
Apple
once.
Podcasts or Spotify,
Thursdays,
wherever you get your podcasts.
BBC Latino.
Well, we're spreading there. We are spreading internationally. The
Are we?
Yes, Meadowlark.
Wow.
Yes,
Just
there
a
will
guess.
be, there will be more announcements. Yes, but if you're watching what's happening in the media space, the reason that this is such a good thing for our company is because what used to be, you had to be in your car listening to us at the time we were doing it, or you would miss it. Now, no matter what your schedule is, you can find us somewhere. Somewhere, no matter what your schedule is, we are available now everywhere. That's what should have been the announcement yesterday. We are available everywhere at every time of day.
Like it or not.
So you're going to give us some of the places we're on?
Some of the places.
I'm going to write them down.
Yes, all right. So you write this down. I'm going
right.
to see if I could do this from memory. Are you ready?
Yep.
We are on YouTube.
All right.
Yes.
Every day, right now.
Live.
Right now, live. Nobody else is doing this. 2-hour rocket ship live through 2 hours with very little commercial interruption.
If you're listening to this later, though, because we released the episodes later, we're saying this at 9 a.m. Eastern.
When we're live.
If you were on YouTube.
We're also
watching
on
it live.
YouTube 24 hours a day. You just type in and search, Le Batard Show.
I'm
And then
glad this
boom,
isn't confusing at all.
24 hours.
You know what? I'm going to start over, but I'm going to keep explaining it until I get this announcement right.
Wait,
But
is
only
YouTube
2
still on the
hours.
list?
YouTube is still on the
okay,
list, but I
good.
got to start over so you don't have that part of the list yet.
Only 2 hours, though, on YouTube.
You should start the list
Right?
over.
I'm going to start over as
Yeah.
well.
What
yeah.
does YouTube have to do with this?
Okay, so
I
YouTube.
still haven't found what I'm looking for.
The you.
That is okay. Hold on a second. I can't find these things, but hold on.
There we
Hold
go.
on. Hold on.
There we go.
Hold on.
We got this. Stay with us.
I mean, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. It was very.
Maybe it's
good.
on YouTube.
You too.
We are on. If you are listening live to this, we are on right now from 9 to 11 on YouTube.
11-ish.
Eastern.
11-ish Eastern.
Sometimes earlier, sometimes later, sometimes 9:02, but you get the gist of it.
With or without you?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Stugotz, it's even available where the streets have no name.
It is?
It's a beautiful day, guys. Let's go. Got to Google more names.
We stream live on Max as well with a Bleacher Report sports add-on. Is that less confusing?
Hold on.
I think we're following.
Say it again.
We stream live on Max
Live on Max.
with the Bleacher Report sports add-on.
But
Yes.
if you're watching this, you may also be watching us live on Max right now.
Yes, but also should point out this is only for weekdays, so no show on Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
The confusing thing is, like, if you're watching us on Max, then we're live on Max right now. But if you're watching us on YouTube, we're not live on Max right now. It's one of those time zone things.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, we're actually live.
On
Well-
YouTube live? Or is that something
No.
different?
Well, yes. Yes?
We are on Max. That's what you need to know. I'm not exactly sure
I got to write it down again.
whether
Hold on.
it's live, streamed live or not, because I don't think it can be at 11 a.m. Eastern on Max, correct? Also, it can be at any time on Max after it starts at 11 a.m. on Max.
All right.
I'm not certain.
Yes, at 11 a.m., but not live.
But Dan, man, I feel like some people are like, I'm listening to this and I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Can you give me some more places that the show might be on?
Sling Free Stream.
Okay.
Slow down a second. Are we still on the Bleacher Report sports add-on?
Yes.
All right, good.
But that's
On
the
Max.
Max.
on Max.
Okay.
Yes.
That's part of the Max deal.
Streaming live, but at 11 a.m., even though we're on at 9 a.m.
Got it.
Do you? How
Yep.
are we streaming live at
8
11
a.m.
a.m.?
Central.
How are we streaming live at 11 a.m. Eastern on Max if we're on right now on YouTube at 9 a.m.?
So if I'm in Arizona and it's daylight savings time, what time are we live?
I can only do this Eastern. I can't do any of the others.
Jessica, you're giving me vertigo right now. Oh.
Samsung TV Plus, Roku, Xumo Play, DraftKings Network. Any questions? I need times. I don't know what times
You're moving
these things
very
are
quickly.
on. Okay, well, I this is quickly? You think I'm moving through this part of the announcement?
No. Dan, I will follow. Keep going.
I have Roku, Xumo Plus, the DK Network.
Samsung TV Plus, I think you missed.
Oh, okay.
And Sling.
How do you spell Zumo, Stugotz?
Zoomo.
It's a good guess.
I think that's it.
It's a good guess.
That's soap.
Zumo. I mean,
We're
like a
also
laundry
We're also on
detergent.
Timu TV. Write that
Timu.
one down.
Timu TV?
All right, let me start over.
TEAMU.
Yes.
Got it.
Billy, I'm going to try and do this magically with you here. So you just give
I'm here to help. I think we can all agree on that.
Monday through Friday at roughly 9 a.m. because we started late today.
But sometimes earlier, if you tune in early, you get a little pre-thing, right? Or is that just on podcast? Now I'm confused.
Has he ever helped? I mean,
Okay, bad choice by me. Jeremy, you help me here.
Oh, Shadow
Yeah,
show.
yes.
No one wants that, Dan.
No, well, Jeremy, you help me here because you're the organized one. I can't believe I still fell into the same pothole of needing help and turning to Billy.
I'm here.
Odd choice by you, honestly.
9:13. We're on YouTube right now. 11:13. We're on Max.
If you do that again, it might be your moment of surrender.
Exclusively.
The chaos of this explanation has Billy alive.
Yeah.
He loves this right
Guess
now.
what time it is? It's 3 p.m. Where are we?
You know what?
Peacock,
You know
I
what?
think.
I'm
Or is
sorry.
that noon?
Here it
What time
comes.
do we start on Peacock?
Look, I am.
Did that start yesterday, or is that
I
moving
am-
forward?
It hurts
Oh
me.
boy, what did Jess do now?
2 minutes. Nice digging.
It hurts me to do this. I just need to concentrate. You didn't even do anything wrong. I just need to
He's
concentrate.
trying to help. I mean.
I know you're trying to help. I'm a little lost. I now don't know where we're on.
We're also on the Walmart Plus app. That's live from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Nice.
Billy, this is a first in penalty history. I'm legitimately penalizing you because I can no longer keep up with what we're doing.
Billy Gill, the unforgettable fire.
We're actually on the TVs at Charhut 24 hours a day.
Oh, the Huts. I love that place. Just went there last weekend. So
Underrated.
still good.
I don't think that's accurate. I think McAfee's on the TVs at Charhut.
Nah,
for
I
24 hours a day.
negotiated that.
All right. Monday through Friday at roughly 9 a.m., but sometimes earlier if we do a shadow show for a few minutes that
Eastern.
felt like the old radio show.
Shadow show.
We are on YouTube Live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. roughly till Eastern, till 11 a.m. Eastern, roughly.
YouTube Live.
That doesn't change. That will stay the same. We've been doing that for a long time. Nothing here actually changes except adding things.
So 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. And then 11 o'clock, TikTok?
You need to not distract me. I just kicked one of those out. I need your help here. You tend to be pretty meticulous these ways.
I'm trying to help. I'm writing these down. Right now, I have YouTube Live, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through
Right
Friday.
now, live.
Right
Ish.
now.
right
Roughly.
now,
Right.
roughly. We stream live on Max with the Bleacher Report Sports add-on. All that means is that when you go to Max at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're there.
Got it.
Okay.
Everyone is clear on that so far.
Makes
We're
sense.
on Max.
Stugotz, what is Sling Free Stream?
I have no idea what the Sling. I know what Sling TV is. I don't know what the free stream is.
Jeremy, would you like to help us here? Billy has now returned, and Sling Free Stream, that is anytime people can get that after we've done it and send it to our other partners.
Yeah, I know for sure what Sling is, but I know Jess was a little confused, and she wanted you to explain, Dan. So could you do me a favor and lay it out for her?
I'm going to need help here, which is why I went to you. You know what, Jeremy? I'm going to need you to get out of here, too.
Billy was
Peacock
trying.
yesterday was real sexy.
I have helpful updates if you'd like them.
No,
Oh.
I don't want
What's YouTube updates?
Roy, I need some help here. I can find Roku. I don't know the channel, actually. I don't know what channel we are on Roku or whether it's different in different places.
Oh, it's the DraftKings network. Go to Roku TV or, the Roku app, and then you go and you search for the DraftKings channel.
Roy,
That's helped, though, Dan.
Yeah, I was talking to Roy.
DKN.
Yeah, you might as well hit that button again so I can leave.
Okay, so you can't help me either. All right.
I can also tell you this, Dan. I was informed all of the hours. So we're just live on YouTube until 11, but all of the hours are available on YouTube later in the day. There's also breakout videos of the best clips. If you don't have enough time to watch the entire show, you can watch breakout clips on YouTube as well. And there's all the socials. There's the Instagrams, the Twitters, all of that stuff. TikTok, if that's where you're so inclined to watch us.
Dan, I have an answer for you for Sling Free Stream.
You do?
Yes. This is Sling's free app that you can stream live content on. They got a nice mix of on-demand channels and live channels. You don't need a credit card to sign up or anything. That's Sling Free Stream.
Think of it like a Pluto TV, which I don't think we're on presently.
No,
but
we're
maybe
not.
one day.
One can dream.
We're working on it.
All right. That's any time, by the way, right? Sling?
Sling Free Stream.
Yeah.
It's when the show
show is over.
You just got me
anytime.
You just got me excited for anytime touchdowns.
I have
They're
YouTube
back
9
this
to
week.
11 a.m. Eastern live. I have stream live on Max at 11 a.m. I have Sling Free Stream anytime after the show. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys got the list.
I do.
Getting the hang of this, guys.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're making progress. Unfortunately, we're doing it in real time. Well, live on YouTube.
What time do we air on Sling Free TV? Or is it an on-demand situation?
It's an on-demand situation.
So it starts whenever I sit down.
After the show.
After the show's over, though.
Got
No,
it.
you turn on your TV, and if you say, I demand the
Yeah.
LeBatard Show, we all have to drive to work, and we start
You say,
doing the
I
show.
demand, like that.
I'm sure there are more than a few people who would like that
Yeah.
feature. Just start working now. Entertain me.
Well, we're working on it. We are trying to be. You say that, but the goal is legitimately to be in so many places at so many times that we're just on when you want us. Like
We're always on.
That's what,
the dream.
That should be our slogan. We're on when you want us.
We're always on somewhere.
At this rate, we're going to get through this list by New Year's Day.
That's fine. At which point our DraftKings contract will have expired, and they would have let us go, and we wouldn't be on any
I
of those
think they
places.
desire us.
So are we still with Temu?
Yes.
Okay.
We are also.
We were never with Temu.
We are also
It was made up.
with Zumo Plus.
I wrote it down.
Zumo Play, excuse me.
Char Huts.
Char Huts.
Yeah.
Samsung TV Plus.
Yes.
Got it.
DraftKings Network.
Wow.
DKN.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, by the way. DKN and DraftKings Network. Those are not two different things. Sirius XM, Channel 85,
All right.
the NBC Sports Fast Channel.
Jesus.
And Outkick.
Oh, you've gone too far.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to get
the hell is
outkicked
the matter
out
with you? Get him out of here.
room, I think.
You know what? I think you're right. I think he's going to have to leave
Oh,
there.
come on.
That's good
Yes,
humor.
Yes.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, high sticking.
That was bad.
But Char Hut was pretty good.
Yeah.
Joke of the week, Chris.
12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC Sports Channel on Peacock, and will be available on demand. Any questions?
No.
Sounds like an exciting time.
You know what I like about this is that some people can consume everything on one app and then come back for seconds on a different app.
Ooh, I
And
like
sometimes
that
it has a
too.
different ending. So check it out on all the apps and see if the show ends the same way every time.
I would like to make one comment, which is I saw a lot of people on Twitter yesterday and Instagram saying, this explains why the Le Batard Show was so complimentary of the Olympics and of the Peacock app during the Olympics. I would like to state for the record, I had no idea. I legitimately was just a big fan of the Olympics, and I think we all were. It was not like some like grand master plan to make everyone really like Peacock before we became on Peacock.
I really love that people think that we're organized to have a conspiracy. Organized enough to, guys, everyone, we're going to all talk up this thing. We're not going to say anything bad because we've got this deal coming on the horizon. Have you met us? Have you watched our show?
You can also watch us on Twitter, right? Like if you're just on Twitter, you can go to the Twitter account and watch us there.
Is there a live stream on Twitter?
Yeah.
I
on
didn't know
Twitter.
that.
X
Yeah.
now.
X Live.
Yeah.
The Max rebrand from HBO went a lot better than the X Twitter rebrand.
Nobody cares.
No one calls it X.
Nobody cares.
I just want to understand, Jessica. So on our big day, and forgive me if you're new to us and this self-involvement and stumbling around is new to you, but on our big day, what you're saying, because we're celebrating 20 years doing this, which is absurd, and obviously the media is changing a lot and we're trying to change with it. You say that a lot of people saw conspiratorially in there that we're reverse engineering, that we were so complimentary of the Olympic coverage because we were trying to please Peacock?
Yes, a bunch of people were like, "Oh, I get it. I get it." At Smetty, like, you really liked Peacock. You really liked the Olympics, didn't you? Yes, Mondo was great. The pole vaulter with the penis, that was awesome. That has nothing to do with my job on the show. That was me enjoying the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, it was all of us enjoying the Olympics, but I want to examine. I want to examine for a second that as a reaction on our big day. The reason we're excited is because we're going to be on everywhere to a lot of different places, and now we can start growing the way that we wish to. But when we were talking about the Olympics, I can't believe that our audience would think that we would lie to them and we're just trying to please Peacock, because look how we've started our second show for Peacock.
They thought we were teasing the Peacock partnership there. Bunch of cock teases they were calling us. We're also, my grandmother told me, we're on Facebook Live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Some are also speculating that you could be the down the road replacement for Jimmy Fallon.
Wow.
And that's like what they're really doing
Interesting.
here.
Would you want to do that?
And I think you should do it. But then you should tell NBC you got to build a studio down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that if you could go back and find one thing that our show's been complimentary on, and then it means that we're doing a deal with that thing. Like Mike's going to be in the next Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Well,
We're on Twitch also.
Don't sell him short. There's stuff happening in the doc division and unscripted that people are going to get excited about too. Because
Mission
we're about
Impossible
to
is not a
start
documentary.
Sailing.
Dan.
I said
It's not? But Ethan Hunt was disavowed and everything.
We also have scripted, Jessica. We don't have just unscripted. We have scripted.
It's a documentary.
Don't get stuck in a moment you can't get out of.
I've been calling it a documentary division because largely we're going to make documentaries. But do not sell Mike Ryan short on his quest to get into Mission Impossible. Do not call it an impossible mission because we're close. If you think we're not close, you didn't hear what I just said about all the partnerships that we have now, that we no longer had the one that was exclusive that wouldn't let us have all of these partnerships. Like, we're just starting. It's taken 3.5 painful years, and the whole media thing has changed. But we were doing it while Hollywood was closing, by the way. But we just started.
All right, I'll give a better example. It's like Mike being very complimentary to the University of Miami so he can become one of their boosters or something crazy like that.
Right, crazy.
More like that, yes.
So Zumo Plus, we're still there?
Zumo Play.
Oh, Play. I wrote it down wrong. I'm
Well,
sorry. There was a lot of pluses.
I said it wrong, yes.
Okay. So you said it wrong.
Yes,
okay.
that is
Why did
correct.
everyone go plus after everything?
Because of Skipper.
What was that movement? Just all of a sudden everything's a plus this, plus that.
Why not minus?
Yo, honestly, if you're Skipper, is that your proudest achievement? Like, I made all of y'all.
ESPN was the first plus, right?
I know. But it's like, if you're Skipper, you're like, I taught everybody, a whole industry. This is how you do apps.
Do other companies have to pay him to use the plus?
They should.
Roy, that's a good idea for us to start Peacock Minus.
Excellent.
On our second day.
Perfect, yes.
On our second day, hey, Peacock, and God help me, because Billy's going to do that as if no one's going to notice. Oh, use the verb teasing to set up his joke.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I understand.
That's a radio term, Dan.
Yeah, it's a tease.
Yes.
Industry lingo.
So you're going to be a Peacock tease. That's what you're going to do. You're going to keep it on the second day. That's how we're going to have Peacock say, you guys are really going to do it this way?
What?
You're going to make our brand something. You're going to shorten it. Wait a minute. Your least efficient guy is going to shorten Peacock to the cock or the cock minus or the
Me?
cock plus. Yes, you.
What did I do?
I did it already.
Yeah, he's done it like 50 times.
Yeah.
That's what
just
he
we're
hasn't
doing.
done it 50 times. He's done it 3 times, and I was going to correct him during the break. Let us get off the ground at Peacock before we start making that joke. He sure didn't make it on Dan Patrick's show. He waited till Patrick was gone. Waited till the minute he was gone to make it.
It's Peacock Minus. I mean,
Let's do it. What do you guys think?
That's just yours.
Sure.
How do we create? Can you guys create the imaging for me that we are on Cock Minus?
No, come on. That can't be cock minus.
Do we have to pay people? Like if it's a
That's
minus?
how it works,
Like
yeah.
it's the opposite subscription.
Sounds like advanced analytics on sex.
Let's have a sex expert.
We did that while you were out.
Let's
It was
keep
a
doing
huge
it.
hit.
I'm saying, why are we doing it? That's us. Hey, cock minus. We did a huge hit and then never did it again. Welcome to the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. I hope that the rest of the audience, the old audience, forgives me for trying to reintroduce all the things we do to a new audience. But I'm going to do it for a little bit because this part's been really hard over 3.5 years, Stugotz. I don't have a lot of greater frustrations than this one. I have had to explain our show and what it does to people, 40 people who work for our show because they're all being onboarded. And I've never wanted to or had to explain any of that. I don't want to. I just want to do it. So, at the risk of over-explaining, we do something every year that is a celebration of all the things that we did well and wrong over the course of the year. They're called the Sueys. They're an award ceremony. And we do it every year and have voting. And it's just basically a year of our content cut into categories.
Our Oscars.
Thank you, Stugotz. I said it that way for a long time, and I've stopped saying it that way because our Oscars is something I always stumble on. We have some losers. These are some losers from the Suey categories because voting is complete, and we did this last week. And in the song category, we like to sing songs because sports should be fun. We have a lot of losers that probably shouldn't be losers because it was our most loaded category, right? We didn't have a category that was better. What was the second best category we had after songs? Like the second strongest category?
For me, limited fake is always strong, mistake is always strong, and dismissal. Like I can't choose one of those. They're like my kids. I would say those are our 4 strongest categories: musical, dismissal, limited fake, and mistake.
They should be called the Yetis because music, that category, it's all songs by Yeti that he nominated himself.
You're
Yeti and Jeremy compete against each other.
You're disrespecting Andrew Streeter, who had like 5 or 6 nominees.
No,
as well.
you're disrespecting Taylor.
I thought they were the same person. I'm sorry.
Actually, I want to play here some losers first. And Taylor, I think, brought it this year. And this was his best one that I thought that didn't win.
Allow me to reintroduce ourselves. We are the Knicks. Oh. And we got OG in a trade from the North and an OB. Bully Ball, Rough and Tough, Charles Oakley, CEOs of the NYC. Knicks. Right from the tip, Jalen Brunson's on fire. Handles, got him spinning like clothes in the dryer. Isaiah Hartenstein learned to pronounce that name. Got the whitest Dante in the game, making it rain. That's right.
Like, that could have won. That's fire right there.
You say it's fire, but I just saw Mace do a freestyle on "It Is What It Is," and it was like legitimately quality music. Like I was surprised by how good it was. I shouldn't be, but that is good compared to what Mace did.
I think that was great. And Stugotz disrespected Andrew Streeter. I thought this was his best work that didn't win.
He's overrated, Greg's exonerated, that's Connor McDavid. Greg made a take, stuck to his guns, and then the Ice Cats won. They were up 3-0, lost 3 in a row, and we weren't having fun. Back in Sunrise, we got right and punched out your lights. So sleep tight with Gunsmite, Lord Stanley's Arsenite. Oh, you know he's overrated.
This song legitimately gives me goosebumps. Thinking back to the Panthers run.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I mean, we knocked out your light. Because remember when we were up 3-0? Lost 3 in a row.
Just
And
compare
we're having fun.
Yeah, I
Taylor
remember
to
that.
Mace and say Taylor can't do what Mace does because that's kind of ridiculous.
But
I'd like to see Mace break down Carolina football.
I'd like to see Mace do it without the Ozempic.
What?
I was not saying that Taylor needs to be doing what Mace is doing. I'm saying we get rewarded by Peacock for this, and Mace is actually doing good stuff that is worth listening to musically as opposed to Taylor. That's what I was saying.
Another song that we had that I thought could have won was Captain Panitz doing The Sports Whisperer.
The Sports Whisperer.
Listen, Belichick, let me whisper in your ear. Tell you something that you might like to hear. You had a nice career, but the end looking sad. Mind if I tell you about this plan I had? My home's been gaining on me way too fast. Surely as a coach that you should get past. I can play at least another
Good stuff this year.
We've got a problem with that, though. I've been told that the way that that the younger generation listens and watches everything is with captions, is with lyrics, and we can't capture young people just singing lyrics that aren't on the screen when we play these songs. We've got to have a video component to them that includes what the words are.
Dude, captions are hard, man. I've been trying to do manual captions because the auto captions always get everything wrong. They can't tell different voices. I tried captioning myself. It took me like 4 hours for a 30-second video.
That was one of my early sports media jobs, was writing captions for videos. Ooh, it is tedious. But Dan, I feel like you're suggesting next year we have a music video category. Yeah, not a bad idea.
A little more difficult, obviously. I would settle for just words on a screen. It doesn't have to be a Broadway play.
Baby steps.
This is, I don't know if you noticed this. So we're all in the content business together, and the Mannings decided to start with a musical, and it landed to me, I don't know the rest of you, as painfully unfunny. But it had a lot of an expense on it.
What? There's a Manning musical?
I missed this one.
I totally missed that.
Mansical.
You guys have missed that the Mannings have done a musical?
Had no idea.
How do you guys all miss this?
Was this before or after we did our musical?
It was just. What do you mean? It was just recently. We did.
Wait, who wrote it? Lynn Manning Miranda?
Look,
you're not proud of that one. You can't
No,
be.
it felt terrible.
David Samson likes it. No, you don't have to leave. Yeah, David Samson likes it.
No, I want to.
Okay.
Interesting. David Samson I don't want to spoil here, may have won himself a Suey this year. We can tease
Which category did he maybe win?
We have him here now, so we can talk to him and get the Suey winners after. But
so he won.
Which category?
Maybe he won more than one.
Ooh, really? I'm afraid.
That's you saved it.
I'm afraid of mistakes.
He didn't.
I think I'm going to run away. I don't even know which mistakes of mine you used, but I am legitimately afraid of mistake. What other losers do we have for the Sueys?
That's it.
Okay, so who's our winner? We're going to announce our winner?
Well, no, we
then?
have a montage of all of our winners where the musical performance is in there. I do have one more, but it's a Yeti song, and I feel like after the Yeti took some shade there, I feel like we shouldn't play
What's
the
the
Yeti
other song? So you do. I asked you, what's the other song, and you said we don't have any other songs.
Well, they undercutted Yeti before, and I felt bad now, but I'm going to play it. So what could have won? Stay tuned to find out. We will announce the winners later in the show.
Clearly it was me because I wasn't played yet, right?
You did not win.
How is it possible? I'm sorry. I'm texting right now, all of you. I really do want to know.
I'm looking at. I just saw the New York Post write up.
I need to stop you guys. Okay. How is it possible that I have a team of people paying attention to the things that are funny and weird in sports, and one of our competitors, Omaha Productions, makes a musical, and none of you have even heard about it?
We have blinders on right now, Dan.
Exactly right. Yep. We're focused on the prize, not the competition.
Exactly.
They're focused on us. We're focused on the prize.
Oh, so this is the
Peacock
Sueys.
House. Exactly right. It's kind of like the same way everybody missed this big hot dog eating contest that was like, wow, this is going to take down the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Oh, wait, it happened. No one could find it. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened.
What?
Yeah,
it
happened on Monday. Yeah. No one knew. Impossible to find.
It was on Netflix.
Who won?
Yeah.
Joey
won.
Yeah.
New world record, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He crushed Kobayashi. Like he ate like, what was it, 83?
Something like that. But you know what, Dan? If it had been on Peacock, everybody would have watched
That's
it.
true.
100%.
Ooh, Gold Zone, but for a hot dog eating contest?
I am
that's a
in.
good idea.
Or on Max, by the way. Just,
Also on
just
Max.
throwing that out there.
Also on YouTube.
Yeah.
Also on Zumo.
Yeah.
Also on Timu. No, wait.
Walmart
No,
Plus?
Timu minus.
DraftKings Network, Samsung TV Plus, Roku, Sling.
Nick at Night.
Dan, I'm looking at this Manning cast write-up from Ryan Glass-Steagall on NewYorkPost.com.
Archie's in it.
And, he says, it starts with Archie, and then it says, has cameos from, and this is the order he writes them in, Bob Iger, Scott Van Pelt, Robin Roberts, Jimmy Kimmel, Mina Kimes, Adam Schefter, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart comes after Mina Kimes on the reference list?
They're doing sequential order.
No, they're doing height order.
Oh.
Is it going down?
Again, you would think that you would have known about this, right? It's got some interesting stuff in it, that they were making that the Mannings have decided in post-career to make a musical to celebrate that ESPN gave them $700 million over 9 years to make things.
Goodell's in it.
Wow, bury the lead, Ryan.
Come up with your own
Glass-Steagall.
idea.
Ooh, Livy's in it.
What?
Yeah, they got Livy.
The Princess of Pittsburgh?
Snoop Dogg. Everyone's favorite Olympian?
Timu's in it.
Are you guys understanding what I'm asking you when I say, how have none of you heard that the Mannings
it's a
were
fair
doing
question.
this?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah,
You guys are tied to the internet all the time. You know what happened there? And we'll get to David Samson in a second. This is the God's honest truth. I lack such confidence right now about things on the internet being real that the fact that none of you had heard of what I was talking about, and I run a media company where you have to be informed about some things, was legitimately so shocking that I'm like, well, maybe when I saw...
You thought you got duped?
No, I saw Peyton and Eli dancing. AI tricked me. That there is this amazing musical that's being made with clearly tons and tons of money. How have none of these people not seen it? And the answer is they're not paying attention.
Well, clearly it fell flat because Schefter tweeted about it. It has 160 retweets, but he tweeted about Davis Mills getting a contract, and that has 210 retweets already, and that was an hour ago. So nobody watched it. We weren't the only ones.
Andy Reid is in it.
You guys understand that the Mannings are making all of the movies on Netflix, receiver, quarterback. They're getting into the content business, and there's going to be some song and dance. The fact that they made something this giant and you guys haven't heard about it, super weird. Like, it's a super unusual thing to I can't imagine how much that cost, and I couldn't imagine how much time that took.
The Mannings need to keep an eye on Jim Gray because he's coming for their stuff. I am telling you right now.
Did he do a
Tom
musical?
Brady is no longer doing Let's Go. He has been replaced by Bill Belichick. How about that?
Wow.
Amazing, man.
Oh, Wally Pip.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I know.
Bill Belichick to replace Brady.
Yeah.
That's calculated by Jim Gray. He's a cunning one. Man.
Yeah.
That guy, Chris Whittingham said he wouldn't want to be him, and what Jim Gray has accomplished in his career from the spot of sideline reporter, which is this much space to make your magic in, has been the best sideline reporter not named Craig Sager in the history of sideline reporting, correct? Like, what does that list of people look like when you make the Hall of Fame on sideline reporters? David Samson is with us now, and he's the host of Nothing Personal. He's on live on an assortment of other things that aren't related to our things at 8 a.m. Live Eastern.
It looks like Tony Siragusa. I mean, Goose.
Cam Oliver.
Oh, he's so good.
Jason Jackson would like a word.
Michael Bublé's in this thing also.
Jason Jackson would not like a word because he says too many words to fit within the confinements of a sideline reporter.
That's why they hired a hot young sideline reporter for the Miami Heat.
Oh, yeah, a new one?
You've been fired?
I'll go.
David, what do you make, before we get started in earnest here, of the changing sports media landscape that has Peyton Manning wanting to make a musical with his brother because them and McAfee and Shannon Sharp, they all want to use ESPN to build an empire while Tom Brady uses Fox to build his content empire?
Well, everyone's trying to get paid first as opposed to doing the work and then getting paid for the work. So it's like development deals in Hollywood, which used to be a big thing. They would pay people to come up with ideas and then said, well, wait a minute, we're not getting enough good ideas. Let's get rid of some of these development deals because our stock price is so low. And let's just wait for people to develop their own stuff and then buy what we like. And what the Mannings are doing, it's actually a great plan. It started actually with him doing commercials when he decided that he wanted to get out in front of his post-career life, whether it was for money, for fame, for ego, or for boredom. And then he's parlayed that into working very hard like McAfee does, like we all do here at Meadowlark, where he does the Manning cast. And now you realize that in order to really get paid a multiple of all of your ventures, you have to have a bunch of different ventures. So much like you're talking about being on so many different platforms and making a joke of what they are and can't remember, this is all part of building your company in order to make it more valuable. And that's what the Mannings are doing.
What exactly is going on with Venue Sports? What's the snag there?
Venue Sports they're in trouble. Venue Sports was invented by 3 different companies as a sports tier. And it didn't involve CBS. It involved Warner Brothers, who is going to lose the NBA, but they're in a lawsuit. And it involved Murdoch and Fox. And they're trying to figure out, how can we get someone to give us $45 a month to get channels that you can get somewhere else in order to make it easier to find sports? And then Edgar Bronfman, remember that name, who happens to be the Seagram's guy, who happens to be the one who tried to buy CBS, but it didn't work, and that's why Skydance has it. Edgar Bronfman has this thing called Fubo, which, are we on Fubo, Stugotz? Did you write that down?
I have no idea. I have Fubo, though. I had the free trial. I mean,
that's how they get you.
Mr. Free Trial.
I'm certain I'm paying for it every month. I mean,
nobody remembers to cancel except Stugotz. He takes the free trials and has a spreadsheet. The most disorganized guy in the world knows exactly when to cancel so he doesn't have to pay for anything. That is absolutely on brand and tracks perfectly. But Venue Roy is this tier. And Fubo said, wait a minute, this is a violation of antitrust. This isn't fair. You're not able to do this tier. This is getting in the way of us trying to do our own sports tiers. And a judge actually agreed. And a judge granted an injunction, which meant Venue couldn't even start. They were going to start in August. And now there's lawsuits and all sorts of things happening. And we don't know where this ends, except I think I do. Venue's going to disappear.
So is this a similar thing to when Disney got regional sports networks and they had to give it up because of a monopoly?
That's one of the greatest things. That's not even talked about enough because those regional sports networks are all bankrupt now. And what Disney did in a fit of forced brilliance is they were told by the Department of Justice that they had to sell out those networks, and they found a buyer at a ridiculously overinflated price. And it is funny, what the Department of Justice does is they try to help us, the consumer. They try to keep prices down, keep people being competitive. I'm not sure they're doing great in the airline industry, but we can talk about that later. So they're looking at all these different deals and different ways to stop these deals from happening. And one of the things that they will look at when there is this consolidation in the streaming world, where we're trying to get on all the different streamers, wondering who's going to win at the end of the day, is anytime mergers happen, the DOJ looks and says, we don't think that this is good. And that's what they said to Disney that forced them to sell those networks.
David, what is the, say, financial return of a show or a comedic entity making a musical?
I'm going to say close to zero. When you are asked, let me give you one quick bit of advice. If you're asked, I'm sorry, to invest in a Broadway show or a movie, here's an idea. Don't do it.
Well, you say that as we build a content company that makes movies.
I want to make, Dan. If I'm making it, I can make the money. If you're asked to be a limited partner, sort of like being a limited partner in any business, be very careful. Just be very, very careful.
So I will explain to the Peacock audience here that David Samson does a podcast every day, Nothing Personal. And while it covers a lot of ground, the best ground it covers, and he does this with John Skipper and Pablo Torre as well on the Sporting Class as part of our Le Batard and Friends network, is no one has a grasp for the complexities of what is happening in sports business right now and covers it better than this person, and especially when he's with Skipper and Pablo, because they've done the work to know and be informed on business subject matter. And the reason I bring all that up is, while we're in the content business, one of the things that I find hugely fascinating about Pat McAfee kicking down the door on Disney and Iger coming out and saying, and I need the Mannings too, I need to evolve this thing, is the fact that when Tom Cruise and Will Smith, I'm reading Will Smith's autobiography right now, no one understands how hard those human beings had to work and have to work to be the biggest movie star in the world. No one understands how hard Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and LeBron James had to work to be the things they are. They are insistent on being those things now with Disney's money and Hollywood's money because they're in the making things business, but it's hard to make them well. It's not hard to make them. Untold has fallen apart because it's not hard to make them. It's hard to make them consistently well. And so when Manning and Brady and LeBron and McAfee and Shannon Sharp and all of these people are fighting with each other with Disney's money, and they're trying to run off the journalists, and Stephen A. Smith is saying, hey, wait a minute, journalism still matters. And McAfee's going to ESPN and saying, no, it doesn't, because you rent now. You don't own me. You rent. What are you interested in there, David, when people are fighting over, these giants of sport are fighting over the money that Disney has to give away to keep up?
The number one thing is that owning your own intellectual property, that is the most important thing in today's media world. Owning your feed, owning your audience. And I say that in the nicest, best possible way, and because that leads to portability. And like free agency in sports, that is the way to make the most money. When you are a free agent and you own your talent and you can bring with you an existing turnkey big operation, you get paid multiples of what you're worth. Then you can reinvest that money and diversify your revenue streams. That's what all these people are doing, and we're doing it too at Metalark.
Well, that's what Metalark is. Like, I don't believe that ESPN knew the value of giving us our intellectual property. We're in this fight with these people because Disney gave us that to get out.
Maybe they're just being nice.
No.
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 Maybe they just wanted to get rid of us.
No.
No.
No. They actually made a business deal, but you made a better one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I paid for it.
1-0. Yeah.
I mean, they did want to get rid of us, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little dicey at the end.
It was.
A little dicey at the end. Yeah, they wanted to get rid of Chris Cody.
Well, they did. They didn't.
Yeah, they
want
did
to.
get rid of
They
him.
got rid of
And then the joke was on us. He was an employee longer than the rest of us.
Chris Cody, you understand. I just want people
Don't blame the kid for the divorce, okay?
I'm not blaming the kid. The kid.
It might have been the final straw, but this was not a marriage that was flourishing.
The kid is not being blamed for the divorce.
I feel resentments from a lot of people in this room, and it rhymes with Schmilly.
Okay.
To pay for Disney World now.
The resentment is because you've climbed to the executive producer chair because we've decided we're going to fight Tom Brady and LeBron and Peyton Manning with Chris Cody.
There would be no resentment if you just gave Billy Disney vouchers, Dan. That's all. That's all it is. Just give him some Disney vouchers.
Billy, all right, it's a start because I'll negotiate with your next contract
4
right now.
annual
I'll
passes.
fill it with Disney vouchers.
Negotiating
Less
with
money.
six,
You know what, Billy?
Well, we did get
Billy,
those guest passes, and there was coupons for 20%
I got a
off.
deal for you, Billy.
Oh, I don't know.
All
David, I
of
shouldn't take
of
the
your
first deal,
God
right?
bless football pay is in Disney passes, as many as you want for yourself.
That's no passes.
You didn't keep any Disney friends? I still got a few.
I don't
hookups.
like asking people for things.
I do it all the time.
Love
I
you.
hate asking people for things.
I love you, Randy.
I'm glad we've got an expert in these matters.
Hey, David, I do want to ask you. I'm a loyal DirecTV subscriber, and lo and behold, I can't get ESPN.
I canceled.
Or any other
did not.
Disney-owned
I did.
channels. You really canceled?
I canceled.
No,
Yeah,
you
I want to
did
watch
not.
the U.S. Open. I want to watch college football. I get home. DirecTV doesn't have ESPN. It's driving me crazy. I canceled.
I couldn't watch the U.S. Open either. David, is this the largest kind of conflict between a content provider and a content distributor that you can remember?
No, there was one just as big last year with Charter, and it ended right as the NFL season was starting. And Stu, I want to really dig into that. You actually called DirecTV and canceled all of DirecTV, and what did you do to get ESPN?
So I signed up for YouTube TV. I now have ESPN. I have it there. I had to get the NFL Sunday ticket anyway, so I just decided to go full YouTube.
And once this Charter disagreement is gone, are you going to get DirecTV back, or are you now permanently done with DirecTV?
I think I'm permanently done with DirecTV. As long as I can get the FBI shows on YouTube TV, I'm good. I mean,
Isn't
So
that
you
all
just-
that's happening, David, throughout?
Yes.
Like, sports fans are trying to keep up with the new normal, which is I'm going to have to start canceling a bunch of stuff because I'm not going to have I just don't understand, David, how all of this is so sloppy, all of it, that it makes it so that all of these entities have to go find their oil wells elsewhere and double dip on stuff and make the customer go and now chase it around because the money has all changed the way that we're used to doing things.
Boy, Dan, you're the king of the slop, though. You know exactly when you're trying to do something different and new that it's going to be sloppy, and there's going to be twists, turns, fits, stops, and starts that may last 3.5 years. So there's a complete, what some are calling an existential crisis, including the people at DirecTV are saying that. There's a misunderstanding about what is happening in the world, and Disney does not want to acknowledge it. And that is the fight. ESPN wants to get paid what they've always been paid by DirecTV, and DirecTV is saying, no, we can't pay you that amount anymore. It's a brand new world. And as a consumer, we are paying not less for cutting the cord and for getting rid of cable. Like Stu, do the math. You got rid of DirecTV. I know you do the math. God knows if you don't do that, you're doing nothing about how much you're paying per month when you get rid of DirecTV, but add YouTube TV, add the streamers that you need to get football. And my guess is you're going to be exactly where you were with cable or even a little higher.
I'm going to be just about exactly within a few dollars, pretty much where I was with just DirecTV, which is amazing. I mean, I'm thrilled about it, you know?
That's awesome that you're thrilled. Most consumers were hoping to actually pay less money to get just what they want. And it turns out that all this bundling and going back to venue, it's all about bundling again. We're actually going full circle back to what really was cable. It's quite unbelievable.
What's the movie you're reviewing for us this week?
I just wanted to spend a minute, and I reviewed this on Nothing Personal, this morning, but I wanted to do it here as well. I wanted to talk about Pearl Jam and Pearl Jam 20. I had a chance to go to the Pearl Jam concert last night at Madison Square Garden and make it back, of course, to do the live show at 8 o'clock. And there's a documentary by Cameron Crowe called Pearl Jam 20. And it was their 20th anniversary. And I did not know the provenance of Pearl Jam and how Eddie Vedder got to the band. I wasn't really aware of their backstory and what they've done and how they've done it. And Cameron Crowe is one of my, if not my favorite movie maker. He's done Singles and Jerry Maguire and Almost Famous, etc. So I would encourage you to watch Pearl Jam 20. And if you can see Eddie Vedder in concert, I would also encourage that.
David, good seeing you. Thank you. I will tell the new Peacock audience, NBC Sports Channel, that David Samson's podcast, which is largely available everywhere you find all of your podcasts, but is also televised on YouTube. The name of it is Nothing Personal, and the business stuff he's doing, all the stuff is good, but the business stuff he's doing is better than anybody is doing it in sports media. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, just 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, they walked into the swamp with a chip on their shoulder. They walked out of the swamp with the most impressive win of the weekend and all of Florida's recruits.
You're not going to announce it. You're not going to announce it.
And Dan?
No way.
No way.
Just like that.
No.
Make no mistake about it.
No.
For a record 37th time here on Weekend Observations, the U
That's unbelievable.
is back.
Unbelievable. That can't be already.
You're shocked, huh?
Well, you've announced it. You've made it official.
Yeah. I have, yeah.
It's official.
Yeah.
Jessica, it's not official that Notre Dame is back. It's official that the U is back, though. Stugotz said it.
Speaking of back, for a 20th consecutive year, we are also back.
How about
That's right.
Supposed to do that yesterday.
Yeah, well, weekend observations are late sometimes.
Yeah. And on Thursday, you know what else is back, Dan?
I do not.
Sundays.
Oh, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Our Sunday's back on Thursday.
College game day on a college campus on American soil. College football is back.
No, you with your xenophobia on Peacock.
You're not going to disrespect my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. That counted.
I said they're the number one team in the country. I mean,
you said that they shouldn't play the first game of the college football season in another country.
They shouldn't. It's ours. Gainesville, more like Canesville.
Oh, can you guys put in the picture, please, Mario Cristobal snapping the gator chop over his knee? Can you guys just put that over his over in the corner? You don't like that, Jessica?
Did you guys think he looked cool doing that?
It's like what
Yes
Chris.
or no?
It's what Chris said about that song giving him goosebumps because the Panthers won. It's not because the song is good. It's because the feeling is good.
Yeah, but he's gonna be a little crybaby if someone puts the U down.
Yeah,
like they disrespect. And it's like, okay, idiot.
I mean, he's a bit of a caveman. Like, he's a football caveman.
No one answered my question. It's yes or no.
Yes.
That's a no.
No, I liked it, but I'm ashamed that I liked it.
Fair enough. That's what it's like to be a Notre Dame fan, too.
I know it's only been a week, but the early favorite for the coveted College Football Executive of the Year award has to be Mike Ryan.
It does?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he got Cam Ward.
He did get Cam Ward. If you're not familiar with our show, we're not making up the fact that Miami is kind of being run, the NIL initiative, by what used to be our executive producer. I don't totally understand, but I think we just bought our way to the top of college football.
Legally.
Yeah, legally. It was allowed.
Which is a new thing.
No
for
one
Miami.
using highlight money.
Executive of the Year. I mean, am I wrong?
After 1 week.
We also spent money
I said
as a
it's
show
early.
on
Yeah.
Tyler Van Dyke's NIL deal, and then yesterday Mike said that he wasn't good. So
We spent some poor money at the beginning.
That's a learning curve.
Well said. Baseball. Thanks for bridging the gap. See you next year. Dan, you know what the B in baseball stands for?
What do you mean?
Bridge to football.
Oh, come on, Stugotz.
It's been great, and the last week of the season is going to be awesome. There are going to be so much stakes the last week of the season.
It was
Baseball's
great.
amazing right now, Stu.
You say so.
Your boy, Francisco Lindor, 30 homers.
Dan, you know what the 2 L's in Mike Norvell stand for?
2 L's.
There you go. Look at you. You're in the game.
That's a good joke.
20 years, but he's finally catching up,
Yeah.
Stugotz.
Yeah.
Hey, Iowa. Do it with Kirk Ferentz on the sidelines. Francis Tiafoe, Blake Shelton, one for the ages. The U.S. Open has been so good.
Wish
So
I could tell.
Country singer?
Would have been nice to be able to watch.
You got Tiafoe, you got Taylor Fritz in the semifinals. There's going to be an American in the U.S. Open final. It's been a while.
men's.
Men's.
Coco won it last year.
Crazy. Top 5 reasons this show has lasted 20 years. Number 5, Marino, Montana. Number 4, Greg Cody Tuesdays. Number 3, Ron McGill. Number 2, LeBron James. And number 1, Roy. My man.
Holding it all up. It doesn't work if there ain't sound.
Yeah.
It does not work if there ain't sound. Now, he don't make a sound, but he handles all the sound.
I for sure thought you were going to go with number 1, the fans.
In an act of just blatant pandering?
Yeah.
OLI.
Wow, the fans are outside looking in.
Love you, fans.
Our customers.
It's a tough top 5.
I thought it was just going to be money.
If I'm being honest, and usually I'm not, I have no idea if the Gators are good. Therefore, I have no idea if the Canes win was the most impressive win of the weekend. Truth is, none of us do.
We don't
But
know
they're back.
if Florida is good, but I do feel like everyone in the room would agree that no matter how bad Florida is, Miami's quarterback can play quarterback. Like that, I feel like that we can answer no matter who he's playing against.
Against Florida.
Well, okay, so you don't. Okay, so just to be clear, you're not sure that Miami's quarterback Cam Ward can play quarterback.
Correct, but I know they're back. I mean,
Okay, you're not sure of that.
they don't have a ranked team on their schedule the rest of the season. They're going to the playoffs. I mean,
Louisville could be
could be.
pretty good
Look,
this year.
they're good for Mario screwing
Georgia
up
Tech's
2 of
ranked,
them.
Aren't they now?
And NC State. I don't know if they play them, but they're also ranked.
But they're going to play this weekend against Tennessee, so they may drop.
Dan, you know what the H in Travis Hunter stands for?
Heisman.
It stands for holy.
Oh wow.
Guy is good, man.
Yes, he is.
Football on True TV. I'm in.
Are we on True TV?
No.
Soon. Give us time.
But we're on Max, which also is tied to True TV.
And Charhut.
And Charhut.
Somehow, Pat McAfee on game day made Johnny Manziel look sane. Things you think about on your couch, on a gummy, after a day of football. I can't imagine Scott Van Pelt ever having hair.
I got him with the long locks, looking like Fabio.
Really?
Yeah, golden locks on Scott Van Pelt.
I can't see it.
Top knot.
Nah, wouldn't work.
Like on a stallion, like riding a white horse?
Yes, and his shirt open. A white unbuttoned shirt.
I don't think any of us are doing what you're doing
No,
right
he's
now.
definitely doing that, man. Back when it's on Golf Network.
If
you guys
he had
didn't watch
hair.
back then.
Right. He had hair?
Yeah.
Oh. Mike Elko looks like he can cook a mean set of ribs.
My set of ribs?
Does he not?
You called him ugly.
I did not call him ugly.
To his face.
I said in comparison to Marcus Freeman, he is ugly, because in comparison to Marcus Freeman, everyone is ugly.
You got to pick and choose who you do that game with, though.
You actually asked him if he knew he was ugly,
I mean,
is what you actually
He's a friend of
asked
mine.
him.
We were just chumming it up. I mean,
You were asking him, like, I'm not breaking this news to you, right, Elko?
I said you might win the game. You're not going to win best looking coach on the sideline. I mean, not in that game. I mean, maybe another game.
It was also like question 3. Like there was no
went right in
rapport
for it,
built
yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, went right in.
Still.
Stop the music, please. And I want to examine this for just a second. And you guys tell me, because this was wildly uncomfortable. And I'm telling you that the funniest part of it is the camera panning to Elko and how he actually looks. Like, if any of you are being introduced to how Mike Elko looks, this is so wildly inappropriate. And it's also exactly why you should listen to God Bless Football.
You know, you might win the game, but you're not going to win best looking coach, okay? Like, you know that, right?
What?
What are you talking about?
What is that question?
The guy across the sideline from you.
Where
The
are we
guy
going
across
with
the
that?
sideline, Mike.
I thought that competition was still wide open.
What a cut by Danny Benitez there. Great job by him.
Mike
Way to go,
Elko.
Danny B. Yeah.
Mike Elko, 2 years older than I am. He looks like he's like my dad.
It's impossible to think that that human being is under 50 years old.
I'd be shocked if that's what your dad looks like. I mean,
Bill Noir.
You know Ed Orgeron used to be a coach, right?
Active.
I think Mike was tailgating with him this week. Mike's running college football. Like Mike is running all of college
And he's going to be in a
football.
Mission Impossible.
is he?
Documentary.
Dan Patrick and Dan Le Batard. Couple of Dans on the cock.
Come on.
What happened there?
We're going to get dropped before the week is out.
We are. They're not going to let us keep doing that.
It wasn't even the line. You changed it.
You know what they say? If you have 2 Dans, you don't have one.
No, you have 2.
I found out Bill O'Brien was the head coach of Boston College when I turned the game on last night. That was 2 nights ago. I was supposed to do these yesterday. I didn't, but last night, 2 nights ago. Congratulations to Bill. He got the job.
Put it
And a
on
win.
the on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Did you find out Bill O'Brien was BC's coach on Monday night?
Watching Notre Dame and Texas A&M, and Dan, Abby did the thing. 5th time she's ever done it. Camera scrolled over to Marcus Freeman. She looked at me with a sudden interest in the game and said, "Who's that?"
5 times your wife has had that feeling?
Yes.
What are the other times?
Salah was the last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert
Rob
Saleh.
Good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Was it Jonathan Coachman as well?
Coach and Max Bredos. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Max.
I miss him.
Me too.
We're still on Max.
Yeah.
Hey,
And the cock.
couple of Dans.
They're going to make us stop doing that. I'm going to get a call from corporate.
A sternly worded email.
I mean, for sure.
Stop calling us
we're-
cock.
2 days in, you can't keep saying we're on the cock. Like, there's just no way I'm not going to get a call on that.
Mr. Le Batard, we received an email, and you need to tell your crew to stop making that joke.
Fake skipper's funny.
Stash this away in the Something to Ponder file. Does Marcus Freeman wear those shirts to show off his body, or would any shirt show off his body?
He actually said in his Monday press conference he called an audible on that outfit right before the game. He changed his mind
Tighter.
about what he was going to wear and went with that. There's also this thing going on where Marcus Freeman has a bunch of clothes that are not available to the public. Like, they create his own custom apparel for the sideline.
How do you feel about the blatant and unusual objectification of Notre Dame's coach? It's one of the strangest things I've ever seen. At no point in my lifetime did I think anyone would be objectifying Lou Holtz.
Well, Dan, I think to answer your question, Notre Dame fans are so desperate for people to be like, hey, Notre Dame football, kind of cool. Very likable head coach, especially after the Brian Kelly era, that everyone is kind of, they're okay with it. If you're talking about Notre Dame football and saying something good, even if it is objectifying the head coach, it's like, all right, well, this is better than what happened from 2010 to 2021.
Ty Willingham crawled so that Freeman could walk.
Yeah.
I got chills watching Nick Saban break down film. Hey, Lucy, I get it. If I was an Iowa fan, I'd go to any other game as well. The only defense that can stop Cade McNamara is Kirk Ferentz. It's criminal how easy Scotty Scheffler is making golf look. Too soon? For context, Scotty Scheffler's caddy would be 20th on the PGA Tour's money list. Think about that. His caddy, he's made over $5 million.
In tips?
The average tour player has made $1.8 million at this point of the year. He's made over $5.
Stugotz was very frustrated yesterday, and I hope we can get to it at some point during the show. He says he's got a full segment on Scheffler. Like that he can talk. He can talk nonstop for 12 minutes. He said.
Dan, I've always said, nobody just strolls into Vanderbilt Stadium that's still under construction and walks out alive.
That is so Vanderbilt to have a stadium that's not complete yet.
It's not Vanderbilt.
That was actually
Finally
that was
a good
funny.
one. Finally a good one. Finally a good one. Not good enough for not.
No, your judgment's off.
Oh.
Imagine a Duke football fan watching Texas A&M and Notre Dame play with their former coach and their former quarterback. I should have stopped that. Imagine a Duke football fan.
Good one, Taylor. He hates Duke.
Dan, on Twitter, apologize for how obnoxious Mike Ryan is going to be. Hey, Dan, how's that different from any other week? Florida, if you thought Saturday was rock bottom, I'd advise you to take a peek at your November schedule. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Mississippi, Florida State. Oh, my God.
That seems like a long season.
Are they good?
They'd have to be to win any of those games except the Florida State one.
What streaming service is 0-11 Florida State and 0-11 Florida going to be on?
We should get it. We should put in a bid. Put Woody on the call, Billy on color, I'll do sideline. It'd be great.
What about me?
You're on sideline, huh?
Man, what? I'll leave again.
Carolina's kicker, Noah Burnett, doesn't have blood in his veins, only ice. Taylor.
Why are we doing ice in the veins?
For Carolina kicker, Taylor.
Can you edit these some?
Yes.
You never feel more alive than when the chain gang comes out for a fourth down measurement.
Good shout.
Thank you.
That was a terrible call, by the way. He had the first down.
Do you guys do what I do, where you try to predict? Like I can tell when they're running out. I'm the first one to be like, nope, not enough. Couple inches short.
My favorite is when we don't need the chains, but they still bring them out. We know it's a first down. Come on.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do feel alive when they come out.
The chain gang barely survived. They weren't going to do it again this season. They had the technology, but they are going to do it again. The NFL is still going to have a chain gang to do measurements.
Angel Reese set the new WNBA rebound record. 95% of those rebounds were off of her own misses.
Jokes from Twitter last weekend.
She really built that record brick by brick.
Oh, there it is.
Not true.
Here come the Mets.
Oh, no.
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 The Metropolitans. There's a long snapper, Dan, on Michigan State with the last name Carson Wentz. That's it. Kirk Herbstreit's dog is the sister gene of dogs. We get it.
Oh, no.
He's a cute dog. Enough.
Well, no, but Herb Street's getting real flack now on his dog. He thought it was cute once upon a time, but now the internet has turned on him.
Good.
Miller Moss might be the real deal. You know what the M in Miller Moss stands for? Might be. How'd you not get that one?
I'm sorry, we ran out of music, and now
use
it's
it,
going too long, and we don't have any music anymore. And so
Georgia Tech.
Yes.
The rare 2-0 team after week 1. Here's some math, Dan. 2 wins plus 0 losses equals number 1 team in the country.
Damn right. Leading the league.
Florida State, the rare 0-2 team after week 1.
I mean, when's the last time you felt this good about your Georgia Tech football team?
Last year when we beat Miami.
Hey, Dabo, might want to consider the transfer portal. Look what Georgia did to Clemson. Think about what they would do to Boise State. 12-team playoff, please. All a 12-team playoff does is prolong the career of James Franklin.
He's got a blizzard on offense.
Penn State, Georgia. I don't know what happened here. Taylor wrote it wrong.
They're your notes.
They're not my notes. I sent Taylor the notes as a typo, and he wrote this one wrong. Georgia would beat the hell out of Penn State. Speaking of hell, Art Briles, Dan, those are the weekend observations, Taylor.
Yeah, you getting the
Just a
ending
lashing
wrong.
out there.
Yeah, just blaming someone else.
Did you write Blake Shelton, too?
He wrote, please, Penn State, Georgia.
Look,
20 years.
Look, if this is not,
it didn't work.
Thank you, Amin, because
I had to cross out like 10 of his.
let me explain to you what Stugotz has given us here at the end of 20 years. Let me explain to you.
Those were good observations,
Yeah,
Dan.
they were
The
because
U is back.
because Taylor wrote them. The only
No.
Oh, the good ones you wrote, the bad ones Taylor wrote.
Listen, I gave Taylor his credit on the one that he wrote that I went with, the kicker.
I will tell you that the joke that you had on Norvell that was good, that while you made it, I heard from the video room, that's not how it was written. He originally did not write it that way. It was written better for him. That's what I got in my ear.
Taylor wrote it the wrong way. I made the edits. That's how listen, I'm trying to teach Taylor, okay? He's a young kid trying to come up in this industry, and that's what I'm all about, helping the young kids, Dan. And I am trying to help this guy out. He writes them, he gives me a base to work with, and then I make them funny.
The one that you're talking about, Dan, he wrote Couple of Dans, peacocking it up, and Stugotz changed it to a more vulgar version of that.
Thank you.
Billy, what was the face that you were just making?
Well, it's just so rude to Taylor. Taylor has his own
love
problems.
Taylor.
He doesn't need you adding on to them. He has his own deficiencies here. But here's the other thing that I want to ask
What do
you.
you mean? I'm helping
He
him.
gave this to you hours ago. You could have read it before you were reading it on air and caught this.
You know what I did? That's why I made some edits. I didn't get to the last one. I mean,
what I was saying
I
is,
trust him on hell, Art Briles. It's an easy joke.
Look,
I mean-
I will just tell the audience, look, it's a goddamn miracle we got to 20 years, all right? A miracle. And what we're getting at the end of those 20 years from Stugotz is about the punctuation you heard on that segment, which is someone else writing it for him, him flubbing the line, and then blaming the other and telling us he's teaching it. Like, that is you blaming a producer for you not doing your job well. That's what just happened there.
The end?
You reading that and telling us that Taylor is writing it for you when you're the one that is responsible for the observations is an amazing way to start at Peacock with our new partners.
I am paying this kid good money to not make mistakes. I mean, that's what I'm doing, and I'm trying to help him out. I mean, a little extra coin in his pocket, and I'm teaching him the ropes. I mean, I am showing Taylor how to get it done in this industry. I mean, what else do you want from me, man? Team player. Got a couple of months to go.
Creating jobs for young up-and-coming talent. Your job, but jobs nonetheless.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since when is good money $0?
$0, please. I wish.
You're paying Taylor?
Yeah, that's what he just said.
Yeah.
That's what he's alleged, excuse me.
Who else is going to do my job?
You're actually paying Taylor, or you're telling him you're going to pay him and then doing what you did to Billy with Sports Bang and not paying. You're actually paying Taylor?
I pay Taylor. Once in a while, I'll have to remind me, but for the most part, he has gotten these payments on time. I am proud of that.
Taylor's very persistent.
Yeah.
He's no Billy Gill in that sense. He will hound Stugotz until he gets his money.
I mean, the second I drive out of here on a Monday, I mean, Jesus.
But why are you paying Taylor instead of us paying Taylor?
No, we should not pay. Taylor gets paid to do his job. Stugotz is giving him extra work that is not his job. That's why Stugotz is paid.
Are you offering to pay Taylor?
Oh,
I mean,
we're not going to
do
give
my
him that.
job. Feel
No.
free. I mean,
No.
I just realized this is what Stugotz has been doing for 20 years.
Yeah, it's a pyramid
Outsourcing?
scheme.
It's the whole company's a pyramid.
Well, don't say that. There's investors.
It is called MLM.
yeah. I mean, Taylor offered, if I'm being honest.
And look, I can't. He's been doing that for 20 years, telling people he'll pay them something off on the side and then not paying them.
That's right. It's time for Against the Spread. And it's brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. Stay tuned because you're going to hear what DraftKings has to offer all throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Roy, what do you got?
We got Ravens at Chiefs. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites at home tomorrow. They have won 8 of the last 9 season openers and have covered the spread in 6 straight games.
Look at you.
Go with the Chiefs tomorrow against the spread.
Against the spread. Analysis. How about that?
That's why you're number 1, Roy.
Speaking of analysis, you guys trusted me last week that UCF would cover 41.5 points against New Hampshire. They host Sam Houston State. UCF, one of the 2 undefeated teams in the state of Florida. They'll stay undefeated. They'll also cover the spread minus 22.5 against the spread. Best running game in the nation.
Billy, bring us home.
I wanted to do Central Michigan minus 6.5 at FIU, but I can't because I'm calling that game. First game at Pitbull Stadium. If you want to check it out, go to FIUsports.com/listen. You can hear the call on the radio. Central Michigan at FIU. First night at Pitbull Stadium. Also, I saw they're going to be giving away Pitbull pins.
Can you get me one?
I don't know if I have that pull. I hope I can get
You're
one.
calling the game.
Yeah, but it's for fans.
The Herbie
and I'm
treatment.
A journalist.
The Herbie treatment of he can't pick the game.
I can't pick the game. Those are the rules. Yeah.
Billy,
So,
can
yes.
I get you to bring my dog to the game?
What?
Well, in
I'm gonna
following
be
it
busy
in
working.
Herbie's footsteps.
Yeah.
Oh, Herbie's not
I have
busy?
I have 2 dogs.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did
I'll
not
take
know
my
that.
2 dogs and Jess's
I'll
dog
take
and your
mine,
dog.
yeah.
We'll have a little
cats?
puppy pen in the corner. Then all the puppies can play together.
Do you think Dopey and Willow would get along?
Dopey?
Not sure.
The name of the dog is
Well,
Dopey?
Dopey and Willow get along.
Of course,
yeah.
Billy will.
Well, he was a rescue.
Why wouldn't Billy like Willow?
What?
Mean.
What happened? Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what the name of the dog is and if it's Dopey.
It is.
It is.
Billy's dog.
Yeah.
Was it like a canine unit or Dopey for another reason?
What?
You know how like drug
Well, I
dogs.
mean,
not a drug
someone
reference.
adopted
Dwarf.
this dog, and then they, there was a divorce, and they abandoned the dog. There's a child involved. I'm assume named it after Snow White. I don't know the history.
Snow White, indeed.
My dog comes from a broken home, sir. How dare you?
2 minutes for ruining comedy.
Oh no, that's
Power play
ruining
going.
comedy.
Did you just tap your nose?
I gave you comedy.
So I'll take the Texans minus 2.5 over the Colts. Against the spread.
Against the spread.
Against the spread.
Billy, what I was asking you is, how is it? How are you going to make this broadcast a special thing? FIU football
Pause up.
is trying to get into the game with Pitbull.
And Goldie.
And Billy.
And you.
And Kim Bocamper.
And you.
He doesn't realize it yet, though.
Billy, let me explain something to you,
Yeah.
okay? Because we've been doing this for 20 years, right? And I don't know that Stugotz has ever been more angry at me than when he's trying to create what we've presently created. And the flagship that is the radio station makes me lead into the Don Strock show in a way that
What a
deeply
show.
insulted Stugotz because he thought I should be supporting the Don Strock show. And I'm like,
Same.
but it's the Don Strock show.
What's going to happen with Goldie if there's a Florida Panthers conflict?
I don't.
That's
I'll,
why
I'll
they're-
ask him on Saturday.
I'm guessing he does the hockey
FIU
game.
has a big team. I think
World champions.
Goldie's prepared for that.
Goldie's going to be doing the TV side with Kim Bocamper, ESPN Plus, if you want to check it out there. But I would urge you to not. I mean, you can if you want to. Why don't you do this? You can watch it there, but listen to us instead. FIUsports.com/listen.
That's the pro move. You watch it on the TV and you listen to the
Exactly
radio
right. I'm gonna toss in a couple of these, left to right on your radio dial. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So then you paint the picture, Dan, when you're doing it.
I love that.
Because they can't see it, so you throw in a left to right on your radio dial. But that's also depending on the side of the stadium you're sitting on, right? Because like if you're on the opposite side, it's right to left on your radio dial, and if you're in an end zone, it's either coming right at you or it's going away from you.
The detail they don't often give is we're on the side of the FIU band. Like I want to know which side of the field you're on.
I like that. I'll write that down. I'll let you know.
So where's the sun?
For Chris Cody out there, we're on the FIU sideline.
Where's Pitbull?
You guys have seen that usually the broadcasters that get the best jobs are former athletes. Andrew Marchand of The Athletic recently wrote, hey, Peter Schrager's so good at this and Mina Kimes is so good at this. May we eventually get back to the day where Tony Kornheiser or someone like him who's a non-athlete is actually on these games, or is it always going to be Rich Gannon? Like, are we going to put some people on here who aren't just former players? And Billy Gill at FIU.
Non-athlete, I'd take offense to that.
Not
take umbrage. Do you take umbrage?
You do take umbrage.
I've taken it, sir.
You don't give umbrage, you take it.
Oh, I can give umbrage.
You
don't dare
give
me.
it.
I'll give you some
I think
umbrage.
it's impossible.
No, I will.
Can you give umbrage, or do you?
I don't think
I think you might.
No.
I might only be able to take umbrage.
Love Stugotz. Like, I think you can. I think you can give
well,
it.
of course, he's going to
That's
go
what I
right
did.
now to umbrage.com or ask Taylor to do it for him. Yes, I don't know whether you can give umbrage.
How do you spell umbrage? Y-U?
Do you? You only take
R-A-G-E?
umbrage. There's no giving of umbrage. There's no other. Is there any other use for
If
umbrage?
anyone can give umbrage, it's me. I'll tell you that right now. And this Saturday, I'll be giving all the umbrage.
I don't know. If you take umbrage, then somebody has to be giving it to you, right?
Umbrage is offense or annoyance. It's used in a sentence. She took umbrage at his remarks. So I don't know if you can.
Dictionary.com says to give umbrage to someone, to feel umbrage at a social snub, or to take umbrage at someone's rudeness. So you can indeed give umbrage.
Give annoyance, Jeremy. You're the personification of that.
Wow.
You are umbrage. Thank you.
You are umbrage. I think you
Professor
should.
Umbridge.
Yeah, as a Harry Potter fan, I really don't like that one. I know that only made it worse.
What house are you?
I mean, you know I'm a Gryffindor.
No
Come
one
on.
cares.
Billy,
You're not a Gryffindor.
what
I
are
am
you going
obviously a Gryffindor.
to do more different on this broadcast? What are you going to do to make this something that people want to listen to?
Tell you which sideline he's on. I mean,
I'll tell you which sideline I'm on. I'll say left to right on the radio dial, right to left on the radio dial. I feel like we talked about this while you were away. I'm being brought in as a clown of sorts. So I think I put the old switcheroo and I wow them with my expertise on Conference USA football. What do you think?
I want you to be the next Tony Kornheiser.
Oh.
Kornheiser ruined it for all of us, right? Because they'll never do that again. The Church of Football will never allow a court jester into the booth again.
Am I a crank like him?
Yes.
Really?
But a young one, a young crank. So
Oh.
like you can play the character of crank for comedic effect and are also spiritually an incredibly old person. Are you not?
I don't know.
Do you not know this about yourself?
Sometimes it's hard to analyze yourself, which is why I'm going to be analyzing the field.
Left to right on your radio dial.
Or right to left, depending on which way the ball is moving. And the quarter.
It's true. Billy's going to be cranking it.
Are you?
What?
Are you
With Dan's dog.
Are you with Dan's dog? Yes, cranking it. Are you nervous?
Am I nervous? I will say this. This is a new group that I'm doing this game with than it was last year, so I don't have the familiarity of AJ Ricketts, who brought me in to kind of do what I was doing. So I'm not sure if this crew knows exactly what they're in for.
Even funnier.
Well,
even
gets
better.
uncomfortable, though. Also in the vein of Stugotz. Is it in the vein or umbrage? Whatever it is. I told Taylor to come along with a camera, so I haven't run that by anyone yet, but I
you
will.
gonna pay him or what?
No.
Have you started studying up on Joe Labos,
Oh, yeah.
the quarterback for Central Michigan?
Yeah.
You have
Senior,
to.
right?
Wait, you're
good
playing,
good
you're playing the
contribution, Chris.
Chippewas?
He's a redshirt junior.
Yeah, see?
Billy, do some.
Should be a senior.
Do some
He
reporting on
red.
Connor Stallions for us. Oh yeah.
What's that now?
Connor Stallions famously, allegedly at the CMU game last year,
Yeah.
denies it. Although everyone says that was definitely you. You can do some reporting for us. Find
Okay.
out who gave him the press pass.
Jessica, thank you for bringing that up. What happened to Untold? Like, what happened to what they were making there? Like, how does something come out of the box being that good and then all of a sudden, did they trade access for making things less good just because they're getting the Gators to sit down and so they're not going to get Urban Meyer to talk about anything?
We did talk about it a little bit last week with Amin, and I think our consensus was if they just rebranded the series as Retold, I think there would be fewer problems with it, because the problem is essentially that a lot of things are just being retold, and we already kind of knew a lot of these things already.
We're not learning anything. We're not learning anything. And worse, in some of these documentaries, they are giving voice to people without challenging them in any way. So the last week we talked about it. I brought up the Donaghy thing. He's just sitting there and lying. Easily verifiable lies if you just go back and watch the tape. But because they got access to Donaghy, they're like, we're just going to go with it.
I don't know how I feel about you with a hat.
Yeah.
It's a long. I'm not a hat person. I don't like hats on myself. I think I look dumb with a hat on. I think I look like a cop most of the time.
Why today?
My barber, because he took Labor Day off, so the Labor Day weekend off. I
Ridiculous.
should say. Big Mike, whole weekend. You're gonna take the whole holiday weekend off. So as a result, I couldn't get a cut. So I'm looking a little wild upstairs.
Well, I knew that you guys talked about this last week, and I also know that Amin was a little bit frustrated with the fact that he wasn't able to get a show off the ground because he wanted badly to talk about it. Because you saw what happened to Showtime, right? Everybody saw what happened. At the very end at Showtime, they're doing documentaries with Boogie Cousins and Russell Westbrook, and they're not any good because they're just access, but nothing's in them. And then Showtime goes defunct, right? Because you got to make the things you make got to be good. They can't not be good because you continue to trade access for things that stink. And that Florida documentary stunk, and the Steve McNair documentary stunk because they're just telling you stuff that if you've been paying attention at all, you've already known. And furthermore, you can then see the omissions because you know more than what they're showing you because they're not just retelling the story. They're sanitizing it. They're changing it. They're making it actively less good than the story actually is. So with Manti Te'o, they can surprise you because a lot of people don't already know the story. And so getting Manti Te'o to tell it, you can tell it well. But if you trade access for we'll make this less good, and I'll do this for you, Boogie, who's interesting, but his movie wasn't. Or I'll do this for you, Russell Westbrook, who's interesting, but his movie wasn't. You can't make. You gotta. And Untold has gone from being something that was unbelievable when it started, filled with possibility, to, oh, you guys are just trading access for stories that are poorly told.
Should be told.
That was a joke we did.
Steve Martin too.
The thing that Jessica and I connected on about this was about the Connor Stallions one, which is the latest chapter that was released. And it was, to Jessica, I don't want to steal your words, but you said basically a bunch of Michigan people watching like, see? Nothing to see here. And that's
what the Florida people did around murder.
Oh.
And that's the problem, right? The problem isn't, hey, you went a little toothless. I wouldn't say the Russell Westbrook or the Cousins documentaries were terrible. I just think they were toothless, but I don't think they were purposely misleading. I thought the Connor Stallions one, which I did go back and watch, just like the Donahue one, just like the Florida one, like you guys are basically being mouthpieces to take people away from what the truth was. And the problem, and the bigger conversation I wanted to have last week was, the problem is you have millions of people who watch these things and walk away, feel like, I know everything there is to know about this. I watched the documentary. And I always ask them, which documentary did you watch? Which is a follow-up that no one ever asks. Because there is an assumption that if we put the label documentary on it, well, surely it must be true and accurate and objective. There is no behavior that we're teaching people that, yes, even with a documentary, you've got to ask questions and read up and kind of figure out what are the angles they're not telling you. Here's a hint. If everything is kind of positive, it probably isn't the most truthful.
I will tell the audience here, now that we are in the documentary business, that artful documentaries, and I love them, love documentaries. They're my favorite. And Amin's right that it's not it's not the truth, it's a truth, but you want that to be an exhaustively reported truth so that it can't be disputed. And as content changes, we're in a weird place right now where the giant streamers want to make stuff that's palatable. Can I get Florida's audience to watch my Netflix thing on Urban Meyer? I don't care if it actually has the controversy in it or is the truth. Just can I get Florida fans and Michigan fans to watch? And there's going to be a dilution here and already has been a dilution here on what happens to be the truth in the transaction of what stinks about the documentary business, which is this. After Hollywood has closed, Billy Corben made the most popular documentary in the history of Hulu. And what's he made since? Adam McKay is a monster filmmaker. What's he made since? Keep an eye on what the hedge funds and Hollywood is doing to the business of the truth. Because the business of the truth already got eaten up in journalism. Hedge funds ate that up, and it's eating up Hollywood right now because Hollywood's like, Iger, you got to solve, right? And Iger's like, oh, this has all changed really fast on me. And my theme parks are closing and pandemic, and I used to be in charge, and I got to come back and be in charge, and I don't totally know what I'm doing. And it's not because Iger's not great. It's because nobody knows what they're doing. Because the whole thing is changing so fast that we're on Xumo Play and Samsung TV Plus, Roku, Sling, other things I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Dan, the other interesting thing in this whole business dynamic, you said, hey, they're just doing it for access or whatever. The Connor Stallions thing is an example of we're not even going to take our time to do this PR piece. It just happened. Just get it out the door. So this is what late-stage capitalism looks like. It's like we're just accelerating everything to get to the half-assed product that we know will be consumed one way or another.
Are people watching, though? Are they watching the half-assed product?
They are. They are. I can't count how many people Stugotz watch stuff just because Netflix suggested it on their thing, on their algorithm.
Well, I think the other thing is that we're not really sure how many people are watching it. We don't know exactly how Netflix counts viewership. Are they counting like the first 30 minutes of retention? Are they counting people that watch the entire thing or just turn it on for 5 seconds and turn it off? Like, I don't know if we really have great access to what the streamers are saying that, things are, how popular they are. Wow, terrible display.
Nice.
Jessica, this is what I would say to you about that because...
About what?
Listen, Stugotz.
Wow, man.
She stumbled toward the finish line, and normally I would just throw her out for stumbling. But the thing that you're saying there that's super, super interesting to me is...
he's mad about the Peacock minus joke. I get it.
People think that Netflix is an entertainment and movie and making things company. They're an information company. They're a data company. They want to collect all your information and then do not share it with the people that they're paying $200 million to make their movies. They are data collection because when the money's going to only be in 5 places at the end, you have to have all of the information. When the phrase that was the biggest in everything that was just said, there is a mean saying, and I don't think Stugotz even heard him. Late stage capitalism. The people with the money want all the money and in the information. They want all of it. And what's going to happen? They're going to eat up the truth. It's going to be a bunch of documentaries about Florida that don't actually have the truth in them. It's just what late stage capitalism, what he said is, I'm not sure people understand that part. I mean, like you who comes from understanding how economies get eaten up when there isn't freedom. Like you threw out late stage capitalism there flippantly when what's happening there is documentaries are closest to the truth. They have to do something that is really hard to make, and it's hard to make money with them because they don't have action heroes in them.
It's funny because on Pablo Torre Finds Out a couple of weeks ago, he had Dan Soder and Katie Nolan, and they were on the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie Tomorrow Never Dies, which is about, or is it Tomorrow Never Dies or The World Is Not Enough? Tomorrow Never Dies. It's the one where the premise is this billionaire who wants to control the media so he can start wars and just keep the news cycle going. And it seemed so ridiculous back then, but it's like we're inching towards that. We're like this control of information. Shout out to Newman from Seinfeld, right? When you control the mail, you control information. Like these are all things that are real. When you control information, you can control what people think about things.
Everything.
So
you can control everything.
A great example of this, Elon Musk is a big clown. He ruined Twitter, all that stuff. But he still controls Twitter, which is this massive vehicle of information delivery that people use, right? People use to form opinions. People use to influence others' opinions. He posts an AI-generated picture of Kamala Harris dressed in like some Mao Zedong communist garb and says, oh, she's openly claimed she wants to be a communist. Now, I know that Elon Musk thinks he's quote-unquote funny and like, oh, I'm just trolling or whatever. The problem is, A, not everybody knows that, but also B, when you are a gatekeeper of information, you don't get that luxury to joke around like the rest of us. Any more than CNN can, have like Trump with a Nazi armband and doing a salute, right? Like if it didn't happen, you don't get to make those jokes as gatekeepers of information. But who who watchdogs the watchdog, right? Who the media is the fifth estate, or is it the fourth estate, the fifth estate? I don't know what number.
Guys, football starts tomorrow.
What are we doing? You guys
why
go
are you
to
taking
I like to go on
Texans
Netflix.
-2.5, right?
I scroll
opening
around.
night, Kansas
3-point
City,
favorite.
Baltimore.
I have 5 teams who didn't make the playoffs last year, who I think are going to make the playoffs this year.
You have your
What are we
preseason awards? Preseason awards?
I wanted to talk more about my hat.
Tomorrow. Let's do tomorrow.
Oh, the hat. Yeah.
What's on your
No
hat, by
cap.
the way?
It says Order 66.
What's that?
Oh, it's a Star Wars thing. You wouldn't know about it.
You're right.
Oh.
You're right.
Why? Because she's a woman?
Wow.
That escalated quickly.
I feel like
Amin said it, not me.
that's at least 2 minutes right there.
Billy, what are you guys doing with God Bless Football tomorrow? You've got a lot of football has just landed on your face. FIU football, you're going to be announcing it, and God Bless Football is going to a game in Kansas City between Kansas City and Baltimore, a game that people are interested in.
Not the Bengals, huh?
Not the Bengals, not the Broncos. What is God Bless Football doing?
We're going to be out there live tomorrow. They're going to be at DraftKings stage. Gojo and Golick are going to be doing their show from there live. Then we're going to do a God Bless Football on the stage. And then if you tune into the DraftKings network, DKN, as some people call it, there's going to be a kickoff show from 3 to 6 Central Time. So I guess I should have just given you Eastern Time. 4 to 7 Eastern Time leading up to kickoff. There's some new football shows on DraftKings, so enjoy. Tune in. Watch us. Come say hello if you're in Kansas City.
We are going to start the full football sprint, okay? It's ahead of us. It's been the Panthers won the Cup. The last couple of years during playoff runs have been really grueling for this show. This show is about to get on a sprint for several months through football season that's going to be crazy. And what you're going to hear next is a new segment. And is it Jess and Lucy and who else? Like, not a new segment, an old segment that now
You're
is
not gonna
renewed.
Like this answer, Taylor.
Are you paying him, or is Stugotz paying him, or am I paying him? Who's paying Taylor?
Both of you guys, not me and Lucy, but it's mostly me. We played a new game today called All Bias Aside.
Oh, wow.
I'm a big fan of this game. I think after a while Lucy started to get the gist of it, but our fans will like All Bias Aside.
Because of our 20th anniversary and everything going on yesterday with the announcement and Peacock, I have not gotten to talk nearly enough college football. And really what I meant to say by that is I have not gotten to talk nearly enough about the bloated purple face of Brian Kelly.
All Bias Aside, we did talk about Brian Kelly in the episode. You'll hear my All Bias Aside answer about Brian Kelly and his reaction losing another opener for LSU against USC.
So
on
we're not
Sunday
going to get
night.
it here. We'll get it next.
Well, you'll hear it next, but I can also give you a little bit here. Do you want to watch the clip first?
It's up. It's up to you. It was a nice tease by you.
Just
Yeah.
tease it.
Yeah.
We're going to have you and Lucy and Taylor are going to give us more college football for the people who have rightly thought that our college football coverage has been insufficient over the last day and a half.
Had Mike Elko on last week.
Yeah, but it has been insufficient because we didn't even get to the Knoxville radio call. We got to get to the Knoxville radio call. Did you guys do anything with the Knoxville radio call?
No, but we also need to get to the Penn State offensive coordinator talking about how their offense is like a blizzard, because that was one of my favorite. There was also a clip of Mike Gundy talking about Shaggy. There was also this controversial situation in college football this year where we now have a 2-minute, air quotes, timeout. And all of the announcers have said they're not allowed to call a 2-minute warning, even though it is essentially the 2-minute warning. Why? I don't know why. They're trying to differentiate it from the NFL, even though it is literally the same thing. It's just there's a commercial break at 2 minutes now.
Do you guys get into the Florida fan ranting on the show? Do you get into the Western Michigan player jumping over the referee?
We didn't get into that. Honestly, 24 minutes is not enough. We did as much as we could. We did talk a little bit more about Texas A&M and Notre Dame because Lucy was there. I assure you this will not be an Iowa Notre Dame segment every time moving forward, but it was they were pretty important games this weekend. Welcome back to Gen CFB. I'm Jessica Smetana. Lucy Rodin is here, fresh off her trip to College Station. Lucy, I'm so disappointed in you and Taylor, first of all, because I woke up Saturday morning and all I saw wall to wall on social media, videos of you in Texas A&M gear in like a cute little cowboy hat, doing Texas A&M yell practice or whatever, midnight yell, I don't know. It just made me really sad that you completely abandoned your friend in her time of need and anxiety to become a Texas A&M fan.
That was all AI. That was not me. I don't know what you're talking about. This video editing stuff, it has, wow, really taken off. I would never do that to you. Ever.
You super did. I'm tempted to just show up.
AI.
I'm tempted to just show up at El Assico in a Cyclones jersey this weekend. Just to with you back.
I'd be happy you're there.
Full transparency, I went into the weekend wanting to root for Notre Dame. I had a t-shirt, I had a hat, and then me and Lucy went into Aggieland Outfitters and everything changed.
That was actually the best store I've ever been in, like my entire life, period.
Set the scene for us then, because you guys walked into College Station and your hearts were open. Lucy, I know you like to buy stuff, so I figured you were going to buy some Texas A&M stuff, but you were impressed, overwhelmed, intrigued? What was your reaction to Kyle Field and to Texas A&M in general on a game day weekend?
Kyle Field is awesome. It is far and away one of my favorite places we've ever been. It reminds me of Penn State Stadium, just in the way like the stadium is set up. But fan-wise, it's really hard to compare it to anything else because it's so unique just in the sense of tradition and the way they cheer and just like all the weird little quirks that are also very culty that like go into an A&M game day. It was a super awesome experience, but I probably wouldn't go back for a minute just to like decompress because I was like, this is culty as hell. I can definitely see why people buy into it 100%.
Really interesting. Taylor, you mentioned to me there was a moment where you knew Texas A&M was going to be in trouble in this game. Can you share that on air?
Notre Dame's about to come out of the tunnel, and I see Marcus Freeman. He's playing up to the crowd. He's kind of like antagonizing them, giving them a little pump up. He's looking at his players. And from that moment on, I was like, I'm very worried about Texas A&M right now because I had Texas A&M money line. And then the second moment was when Connor Wegman was just throwing up over himself. And I was like, this is not the quarterback I want to be backing right now.
Yeah, that was bad. I'm curious what it was like boots on the ground watching the game. If you ever felt like you had any sort of feeling it was going to be go a specific way, Lucy, because the crowd was definitely a factor in it, especially in the first half. And going into halftime, the score was only 6-6. It was not a high-scoring game. It was two defenses sort of battling it out for a while. Until pretty much the fourth quarter when Notre Dame had a couple good drives and put the game away and then iced it with the field goal at the end. But just from your perspective, like what was it like to be there? And did you think that Texas A&M really felt like they were in this thing?
I felt like A&M was in it just straight up like vibes wise, where like when you're in a stadium like that, an atmosphere like that, you're like, there's no way they can lose. Like Texas A&M is going to win this game. I think Taylor put it perfectly. I felt like I was watching an Iowa game with those offenses where I was like, I just don't know if this is going to get done. Like Wegman was so terrible. And then Ted Cruz showed up and I was like, oh, this is just all bad vibes for an A&M now.
And you went viral. And how many different news outlets asked you for a comment on your TED Cruz
Only
video?
one. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll give you a comment. And they were like, we don't want it anymore.
Wow, journalism is
your
so
time
bad.
has passed.
What was your comment going to be?
I think I was my plan was to like play it off as like, my bit was that I knew Texas A&M would lose because he was there. Also the bit of that he smelled bad. So I was like, there's so much like opportunity to be funny. And I responded like, they emailed me at like 3 a.m. So I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to respond to you at that point. And then they were like, yep, your moment's over. Hope you enjoyed the 15 minutes.
Did he really smell bad?
I would assume so. I didn't want to get close enough.
Okay, so Texas A&M loses at home to Notre Dame. We won't spend too much time on it, but obviously you guys were there. It was one of the games of the weekend. Notre Dame, my alma mater, they came through with a huge win, despite one of the worst calls that I've ever seen in a college football game. In the first drive after halftime, Riley Leonard, QB keeper, crosses the first down line, and they mark him like a half yard back, and then they review it, and they're like, nope, wasn't a first down. I'm wondering if you guys have a specific thing that you scream at your television when there's a bad call or like something goes the wrong way for your team. Because I realized this weekend I have one, and I do it a lot when I'm watching games like this. And it's like a very specific phrase that I scream at my TV. Mine is I look at the TV and I go, F off. I just scream that at my TV. And I did it in the second half of that game because I was so mad at that spot. Moving on. Notre Dame won.
I say gig 'em. That's what it is. The answer is gig 'em.
Lucy says gig 'em. Notre Dame won. Maybe a tough road ahead for Texas A&M if they're not able to figure out some of their offensive struggles. On the flip side of that, Notre Dame's got a very good defense, and Texas A&M also has a very good defense. And I think their defense is probably good enough to win some games. So what is your we're going to do some hot takeage here moving on in a little bit. But like, Lucy, is the season over for Texas A&M with Mike Elko, or are we just getting started?
No, I mean, like, I think that's kind of been the weird thing we're forgetting in this game is, yes, Texas A&M lost. Yes, Connor Wegman was really bad. This is Mike Elko's head coaching debut at A&M. So, like, he's taking in a new system, one that Jimbo just kind of, like, ran into the ground. So for them to compete with Notre Dame the way they did is really impressive. The quarterback position, I don't know, the backup, maybe he's better, who knows? But like the thing with A&M is like this season was always going to be an adjustment, but you have so much money as a university that when portal time comes around, you can find somebody better.
Yeah, well, they are giving a lot of that money to Jimbo Fisher, but go ahead, Taylor.
And with that Notre Dame Texas A&M game, I think I drastically overestimated Notre Dame's offensive line going into this game, or underestimated them, because it was like 6 combined starts. And then they just came out and dominated, where every time Riley Leonard ran with the ball outside of that 4th down where he got called short, which clearly didn't, it felt like it was a guaranteed like 6 yards every time.
Yeah, it actually was shocking because it felt like the run game was stifled so much in that game, but Notre Dame carried the ball, I think it was 5.8 yards per carry and rushed for almost 200 yards in that game with their 2 really good backs. Riley Leonard obviously opens another sort of door for the Notre Dame offense with his rushing attack on his legs. And I think you're right, Taylor. I think that to Notre Dame's credit, Mike Denbrock had a really good game plan, and I think that he schemed around a sort of inexperienced offensive line really well and helped them out with sort of some protections from tight ends and running backs and such. So anyways, I was very happy on Saturday night. I went to bed a very happy little boy, just curled up in my little bed smiling. Ooh, yay! Notre Dame won one of these games that we typically don't win, especially on the road against an SEC school. We don't play a lot of SEC schools, especially to start the season. So I think it had been like 20 years or something like that, crazy, since Notre Dame had won a road SEC game to start the season. So we're recapping the wild week of college football, and it's brought to you by Cheez-It. We're feeling the cheesiest, Coach.
Heck yeah, we are.
Cheese. So, Lucy, we're going to play 2 games today. In the first game, we're going to rank some hot takes. And the ranking scale is 1 to 10. 1 being not that hot of a take, 10 being this is a scorching hot take. This take is Deion Sanders and Pat McAfee coming for all the stuff. This take is uniquely Miami. This take is so hot, it's going to singe your eyebrows off. So where do you want to start with our hot take ranking?
Well, I think I have to start with this one that I obviously did not write. Iowa's offense will finish last in the Big Ten.
So
it's a 1 in the sense of it's not a hot take because like they do that a lot. But I disagree with it.
Okay. So not a hot take, but not a take you agree with. That's interesting. I wonder if we could rank. No, never mind. We're going to overcomplicate this game now. So Iowa was like a tale of 2 halves with the offense, right? It's looked like same old Iowa in the first half, but then all of a sudden second half, hey, guess what? We got 40 points. What the hell? That hasn't happened in like 2 years. So not a hot take, but why do you disagree with this take?
I think there are worse offenses in the Big Ten. I think Minnesota's up there. I think Purdue is up there. I don't think that Iowa is going to be the worst offense in the conference. I definitely think they'll be bottom half. But I think that I'm hoping that the days of just purely dreadful, worst in the country offenses is over, and that we've just transitioned to bottom half of the Big Ten, which is a huge upgrade, huge improvement. This game against Illinois State was the first time that Iowa had 3 passing touchdowns in a game in like 4 years.
Okay, Taylor, what's your stat?
Freshman Reese Vanderzee became the first Iowa receiver to record 2 touchdowns since 2022, not in a game, but for an entire season.
What?
It's really good. We're back.
That's a great stat. Okay, so that's, not the hottest take. Cold take. Cold take. So we'll move on to maybe something a little hotter. College kickers, they're too good now. Lucy, I watched college kickers rip off 52-yard, 59-yard, 55-yard field goals all weekend. Am I crazy, or is this just like a thing now where we can't rely on them to just miss these little chip shots and like we're going for it now and kicking field goals from these insane distances. It just what happened to the sport that I love?
You are 100% right. Like, where's the chaos? My thing is I haven't felt whole since Alabama got a good kicker. Like, that was the most reliable thing in sports. Death, taxes, bad Alabama kickers. And now we're not at that spot anymore. And you're right. Everyone is making these insane 50-plus yard kicks. We have to find a way to, like, spice it up a little bit. I've always thought that you should get points for dinging it. So maybe we add that in the equation so people are going for like a little doink.
Off the crossbar. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you add extra sort of like spice to it because, wow, now you're down 2. And if you doink it, you get an extra one. So then you're going to get some really wild kicks if people are trying to doink it.
Doesn't sound like that was a hot take either. So what are we saying?
No, it's not a hot take. I think it's a right take. I feel like we're going extremes here. What, 2? 3?
All right. Well, we need a hotter take than that then. Give me something that is a legitimately hot take.
Shoot, I don't know what. Oh, USC might have a defense. Maybe that's the one that we want to go to.
Okay, go ahead.
I can't they looked great. They looked great against LSU. I just can't say that fully with like my chest, my heart, my soul, and believe it after week 1. I think that's what I struggled with most this week is like looking myself in the mirror and being like, don't overreact to week 1. Don't overreact to week 1. Don't overreact to week 1. So like all of these hot takes, like the only take that I feel pretty confident in is Florida State's pretty bad, but everything else, like one game, I'm just trying to like keep myself grounded where it's like, all right, that's just a very small sample and we'll learn more week 2. So I don't feel super comfortable being like USC has a phenomenal defense. They definitely have an improved defense, but that's also not that hard to do.
So like a 5 on the take scale. I think that the most impressive thing about USC's defense was that they made tackles. They just didn't make tackles last year. Like they could not complete a tackle.
Except when they tackled each other.
True.
They were so good at that.
Yeah, but Lincoln Riley may have a good defensive coordinator over there. And if they're able to combine that with yet another fun offense, watch out, Big Ten. You may be looking at the University of Southern California as your Big Ten champion. I know, it feels, I saw the Big Ten patch on their jerseys too. I'm like, what is that? That's so weird. Okay, well, do we have any hotter takes than that, Lucy? Or should we move on to the next stage of our show, which is all bias aside?
I don't think it's a hot take, but I do want to talk about it.
Okay.
I felt myself just like having to kind of reevaluate my life watching Penn State, West Virginia, because I have said time and time again that like Penn State has always just missed this like component of having like explosive fun, just like a little extra seasoning on the offense. And we finally saw that against West Virginia where there were big plays and Drew Aller looked great. So like, I have been affirmed Penn State's going to make it to the playoff and get blown out immediately. And now I'm like, I think they could compete with Ohio State better than they have before. I'm not saying they're going to win. I think they could eventually advance in the playoff. Like, it's weird because once again, I'm trying not to overreact. But for the first time I watched Penn State and was like, wow, I see signs of life. Like they needed that new offensive coordinator. And it's kind of weird. So I want to apologize to Penn State fans because I on you all the time. And I'm buying in.
Okay. Well, Penn State's explosive play rate against West Virginia, 99th percentile. That's about as high of a percentile as you can get. You're right. It looked like they maybe figured some things out with their new OC who came over from Kansas. We need to talk about his quote about the offense being like a blizzard. Well, maybe we'll get to that next week. Maybe we'll make Taylor edit a useless sound montage because he loves doing that so much for the NFL coaches.
I'm in.
Okay. Oh, okay. He said he's in. All right. Well, let's play all bias aside then. This is the real breadwinner for our episode. This is Taylor's game that he came up with. Taylor, is there any? Do we have to explain the game, or should we just get right into it?
You just have to say all bias aside, and then your statement, and then just remember, just put your bias to the side of it.
Okay, I'll start then. All bias aside, I don't think it's going to work out well for Brian Kelly at LSU.
No.
What was that?
Slam on the table.
I mean, not only did they get outcoached, but also his press conference afterwards was so... It's weird, too, because as a Notre Dame fan, he sort of changed after the Come to Jesus 2016 4-8 campaign at ND, and like... I don't know what he did, but he was much more composed afterwards and like not purple-faced on the sideline screaming at people quite as much. And then like it felt like after that LSU USC game Sunday night, it was like we were all the way back to like vintage 2011 Brian Kelly.
And we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous.
Do you think it's because he had a purple shirt on and so it just brought the tones out more?
That is a fair question. I don't think that that's what it is. I think that he just was really, really angry, and that press conference was very uncomfortable to watch because of the way that he slammed his fists on the table. It was like he sort of like was like practicing it all, right? I don't know. It was weird. But all bias aside, just Brian Kelly, things don't look good for him at LSU.
No, they don't. And like, it always cracks me up because he'll go and just on his players in the press conference. And we're like, what? That doesn't sound like him saying his quarterback is bad. Just like blatantly.
He said USC's quarterback outplayed LSU's quarterback.
I like Nussmeier too.
He played well.
Nussmeier was good.
And that's the thing that's so frustrating, I think, if you're an LSU fan. It's like you've got another quarterback that waited his turn, stuck around, played really well in this game. The offense looked pretty good most of the time. And then once again, the defense is just like struggling to contain, and they're getting blown up in the fourth quarter. So big win for USC, but all bias aside, Brian Kelly's situation looks not great right now.
All bias aside, Dylan Raiola at Nebraska. Wow, he looks really, really good. This is going to be a good year for Nebraska. Bowl eligible Nebraska. He was 19 for 27, 238 yards against UTEP, which I know is just like against UTEP, but considering like the pain of the Martinez brothers and everyone to follow, they're not brothers, but they're all Martinezes, to follow at Nebraska, it's very obvious that Matt Rule was the right hire, and Nebraska, I feel confident in saying, is a good football team.
Hang on a second. Are you playing the game right? Taylor, give her an example of all bias aside the right way.
I think I am. I hate Nebraska.
Yeah, but it's all bias aside. Omarion Hampton is the best running back in the country from North Carolina. To be able to do what he did against Minnesota, knowing Carolina's quarterback situation, Minnesota was selling out to stop him, and Omarion Hampton still carried North Carolina to win. So all bias aside, I'm putting my bias aside, you see?
Yeah,
but
so
Omarion Hampton,
put your bias aside. And so, okay, I'll give you another one. All bias aside, who wouldn't want to play for Marcus Freeman? I mean, he had Notre Dame so pumped up before that Texas A&M
Now you're playing the game.
He was dressed impeccably. He was stone cold locked in, aggressive play calling, going for it on fourth down. That hasn't always been his strong suit at Notre Dame, knowing when to go in and win a game on offense. And he just was just super like composed and confident in his team. And just, if I'm a recruit, I'm watching that. All bias aside, I don't know where else I would play.
I feel like I get the game now, but I also feel like I don't want to subject the listeners of the show to more Iowa offense talk. I don't think they deserve that, and I know they don't want it.
You're a better
They've
person.
made it clear they don't want it.
Okay, here, I'll give you another one then. All bias aside, Michigan might be in trouble this year. They look like they don't have their quarterback situation figured out. Lucy, big game this weekend, Michigan and Texas. What do we make of Michigan coming off their national championship win, obviously, but a lot of the coaching staff gone, maybe some offensive holes, some gaps, but still maybe a good defense? Like, what do we have in this game?
Yeah, their defense is great. I don't think that's a question at all. The quarterback situation is very much an issue for Michigan, and we've been hearing rumblings of that all summer long. It's like Michigan does not have this quarterback situation figured out. Talent-wise, Texas has more talent, much better quarterback, much better backup quarterback. So I don't really see a way that Michigan wins this game. I think that Texas pretty much outmatches them in every sort of category. The only way that Michigan wins and competes is doing the Big Ten thing of just dragging you down to their level. They're going to suffocate you and make you play sloppy, nasty Big Ten football. I just think that Texas is better.
Okay. So I think you're getting the gist of the game. I'll do one more just to make sure. All bias aside, Miami, they should not be eligible for the playoff because their non-conference schedule this year was so easy. They were supposed to play Notre Dame this season, which would have given them a top 10 team on their resume to start the year. And instead, they had this game against Florida, and now they're playing a few cupcakes. USF, not terrible, but still. And then they play this ACC schedule, which without Florida State, I mean, is there any real trouble for them getting through the ACC? They just should not be considered as part of the college football playoff, even if they win the ACC. I know that they're supposed to, get an automatic bye if you're a ranked conference champion in the top 12, but Miami should not count for any of that, all bias aside.
Agreed.
She's getting the game, Taylor.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Clip that for social. Okay. Well, Lucy, what else do we want to do before we wrap up this edition of Gen CFB? It's kind of an interesting slate this weekend for a week 2. Obviously, we talked about Michigan, Texas at noon on Fox. The late games, Nebraska and Colorado, like you mentioned, Nebraska, true freshman quarterback Dylan Raiola, the highest rated quarterback recruit, I think, in program history against Deion Sanders, Colorado. We saw them play last Thursday against North Dakota State. They obviously won. But what do you expect from this? This is kind of, I think a lot of people will be watching this. It's going to be 7:30, but a Peacock game. How about that? Our friends on Peacock.
I think Nebraska wins. I actually think Nebraska, pretty easily takes care of business. I think that North Dakota State, yes, Colorado won that game because North Dakota State was 5 yards short of a Hail Mary,
True.
They weren't necessarily, North Dakota State was in the entire time, and the play calling from North Dakota State was kind of atrocious. So, had that game been a little better coached, I think they would have won. There's still a lot of issues with Colorado, and as good as Travis Hunter is, as good as Shedeur is, that's end of list.
Yeah, I think Colorado looks very similar to last year, and maybe if they did fix sort of some of the issues they had in the trenches, those are things that might take a while to mesh. So unclear how much they really were able to fix those things, right? It's only week 2, and so it should be a interesting matchup against Nebraska. I think a lot of people are going to tune in and be like, wow, this freshman kid is actually so good, because he looked really, really good this past weekend. The other primetime game is Tennessee versus NC State at 7:30 on ABC. NC State had a really weird week one game against Western Carolina, in which they were tied going into the third quarter, I believe. Grayson McCall is their quarterback. He transferred from Coastal Carolina. And Tennessee has another quarterback that is going to, I think, really impress people, Nico Iamaleava. He looked really, really good against Chattanooga. Obviously, it's Chattanooga. They're not a P4 team. But, Lucy, who do you have in this Tennessee-North Carolina State game?
Oh, I have Tennessee in this one. I think their offense is too good, but I think this is a better test. NC State always has a really good defense. They always have a super strong linebacker unit. So I'm excited to see Tennessee face someone who's a little more up to the challenge, but their offense is really unbelievably good, as Josh Heupel always has. So I think Tennessee wins. I think they compete really well in the SEC, because I guess there's not an SEC East anymore.
Sad. The last game we'll mention really quick, Boise State at number 3, Oregon. Oregon was weird this past weekend.
Weird.
Oregon, Michigan, UCLA, they all got the second screen treatment, for me at least, because I was watching Texas A&M and Notre Dame, but they all really struggled in week 1. So Boise State's running back, Ashton Janty, ran for 267 yards and 6 touchdowns in week 1 against Georgia Southern. Now going up against Oregon. Boise State is one of those teams that, if they do really well and win their conference, could be a playoff team. Do we think Oregon pulls off a win here?
Yeah.
That's confident.
Yeah, pretty confident.
That's a 1 on the hot take scale from Lucy. She's like, not a hot take at all. I got this thing. All bias aside.
The score was not, Idaho, Oregon, the score was not indicative of, what happened in the game.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel had, 5 billion yards of offense. Okay, all bias aside, Lucy, Taylor, great episode of Gen CFB.
My best.
Why would you say that? Yes, it was.
Because I wore Texas A&M stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm not, we're not back to being besties yet. We have, I got you a shirt when I was on vacation, and I'm currently, holding it hostage, because I'm still a little mad at you, but maybe I'll send it to you by week 2, depending on how things go, if you can make it up for me. I don't know. We'll see.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by Smirnoff. Wow. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
Oh, I love drinking responsibly.
New York.
It's the best.
New
I love
York.
a little glass of Smirnoff with my football. Just the best.
I like it like Billy does, right there. Put the bottle on the table, let everybody know we're ready to have some fun. You know what's more fun than anything though?
What's that?
Finding out who won the Sueys. Last week was cool, but I want to know who won.
I have to make a confession.
What's that?
I already know who won 2 of the categories
What?
because I found out I came in second twice this year.
I saw
2
that too
times.
because Cynthia sent me like our winners, and she sent me like who was second and third, and I was just like, oh, Jess, so close yet so far.
I don't think I've ever won.
Silver medalist.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever won.
I
a
would
Suey.
dispute that.
I think you've won.
I don't remember what
know.
you won for. I'm gonna do research on that.
Yeah, well,
I
it's
think
not
I
this
have-
year, obviously, or you would have said you
Ethan, get
did
on it.
now.
I have a limited
Tricked ya.
fake Suey, and then I think I have biggest mistake. I have one of each of those.
Well, let's find out who won this year's Suey Awards.
We've made it to the grand finale, and now the winners of the 2024 Suey Awards. Best back in my day. Adultery.
We are back.
That is
waiting
for this one.
Wait. By accident, what just happened? I think that's the record. Roy, for years, has been counting the amount of time that he pregnant pauses there. That was the record because he was looking for his papers. Because he was surprised that he has a back in my day.
I got a lot of papers here. I'm a busy man. Adultery. Okay, let's be honest about something inherently dishonest. Adultery, infidelity, cheating, whatever you want to call it, was so much easier back before technology came along and ruined everything. Or rather, so I'd imagine the clandestine Casanovas would lament. Cheating was easy once. You just had to make sure you weren't doing it around friends, neighbors, or coworkers. So if you lived in Mayberry, the two of you drove up to Mount Pilot, got a corner booth at the bar, then a room at the No-Tell Motel, and called it a night. You were blessedly incommunicado. There were no cell phones allowing any busybody snoop to record or photograph you. You were completely out of touch until you dropped a dime in a payphone. Now, every text message and voicemail exchange is retrievable. You think delete search history actually does that? Ha ha, your naivete is so cute. Back in my day, you wrote a fake name in the motel guest book. The board clerk said you're in room 9, Dr. McGillicuddy, and you went on your merry way. Now there'd be an unblinking ring camera above the door ratting on you. Modern-day debauchers and Lotharios have only 2 choices. You either give up your cheating ways, or you hopelessly bemoan technology and understand that today, a smartphone would be pinging your exact location in that dark corner booth as you swig your 3rd Manhattan. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Best story. David Samson clogged a stranger's toilet during a marathon.
What's the oddest place you've pooped while running a marathon?
It was right before the New York Marathon, and where you are staged is a army base. And I actually went into someone's house who was in the army.
It was a veteran? Oh, my God.
No, an active army, like,
what are you
general.
doing?
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Lucy, you're
And
mortified.
it ended up clogging, and it flooded, and I ran. I didn't leave a note, and I think about it to this day, that poor person coming back after volunteering for the New York Marathon, and what I left that person with.
He comes home.
Who in my toilet?
He's right. Who in my toilet? What communist?
Here's a little nugget, Dan. I chose the master bathroom.
Oh, my God. Because it's comfortable.
It was nicer.
What do you mean, why?
You were scoping out the bathrooms of the general's house?
This is an uncommon horror.
Best limited fake. Mike Ryan's limited fake Pierce Brosnan in the film Dante's Peak.
Put the town on alert.
Best revelation. David Samson reveals he cries after sex.
Look at him. He's radiant. He's post-coital. Look at him. It's unbelievable. What are you doing?
Post-coital, I cry.
You're what?
And apologize.
Every time?
Sorry. So bad and short. I'm old.
Best laugh. Katie Nolan. Very good. Worst mistake. Roy Bellamy sounds drunk after the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Arena.
Oh, wow. Jesus, Roy.
We have made it from Amarin Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down.
We celebrate championship.
We are going to celebrate a Stanley Cup championship.
Greg Cody calls Mike Ryan a giant infant.
No, I'm not going to apologize.
I wouldn't expect you to apologize.
Good. Then
you're a giant infant.
Okay.
You have no control over your emotions. When you're calling someone you know an idiot, I don't deserve it.
Okay.
And you're a fool for saying it.
Okay.
You're a fool.
Yeah.
I was kind of following
calling
Oh,
somebody
you're
else an
locking in
idiot.
right now? You're locking in on ice?
Yeah,
All
right.
Let's drop the gloves, pal. Let's drop. You should be thanking me.
For what?
Every day.
For what?
For what I've done around this character. And the second shit gets real for you, you want to come at me and call me a fool? Huh? Yeah, no. Seriously. Seriously, pal.
just whispered,
I've added
"Can I
10 years
leave?"
to your career. You want to call me a fool?
Wait a minute.
You'd be toiling away.
You
You'd
have
be
added-
Michael Yormark.
Oh, no.
You
Wait a
owe
minute.
me
Oh, no.
everything.
Oh, no.
You owe me everything.
You have added 10 years to my
no.
career.
Yes, I have.
This man has.
that
You
man,
haven't.
That man.
Who the hell
let
are
me
you?
Tell you, I am.
Who the hell
you
are
should be
you?
thanking
Bullshit.
me.
You're a rude
Me.
young man.
You're a fool.
You're
a fool.
I already called you
You're
a fool.
right
You can't
back.
call me a
You're
fool.
an idiot again.
It's a fool
You're
off.
an idiot twice. You're an
no.
idiot for dismissing
Mike.
how much I've helped you. You
No,
are
Mike.
a fool.
You're
Mike.
nobody.
You are an
no.
infant.
You are
have no
nobody
thick skin.
to me. Best dismissal. Stugotz dismisses the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dan, this time of year, everyone talks about teams they don't want to see come playoff time. I want to talk about a team that I actually want to see come playoff time. I want to see the Chiefs. I want Patrick Mahomes strolling into my stadium with max confidence. I want Travis Kelce. I want Taylor Swift. I want the team that lost to Jordan Love. I want the team that lost to Aiden O'Connell. I want the team that trailed 17-0 to Jake Browning. That is the team that I would like to face in the playoffs. That's the team, indeed, that I would want to face in the playoffs because that team is not very good.
Best musical performance. Greg Cody, Yeti Blanc, and Mike Ryan. Puka Nakua. His name is Cooper, good at running curls. But when his hammy got a tear, he saw Puka standing there, his blade diminished. Hostile takeover. Nakua hopped into the car. McVay has maybe found a star. And then Matt Stafford threw him 25-2. Oh, there's a brand new kid in town out of BYU. They call him Puka. Puka Nakua. His quarterback is not named Tua. Yeah, he is Puka. Puka Nakua. Fantasy assassin, it's the time to cash in. Yeah, Puka. Don't need the glove.
What a year.
It was supposed to be a trumpet.
Yeah.
For the viewing
That
audience.
was awkward.
Yeah, it looked like something else.
Ah, what a year.
Dude, you know what's funny? Every time I hear different things I didn't hear the first time. So, for instance, when Stugotz dismissed the Chiefs, I heard in the background, was Jeremy informs me?
No, I think that's
it was Dan.
He does the move when he spins around when Dan, I think he was like, oh.
Yep.
He's trying to be a hype man for Stugotz.
And in the Mike Ryan Greg
Giant
Cody
infant.
argument, yeah, he dismisses Peter Yormark. You'd be Peter Yormark, and I just felt like, that poor guy.
Unnecessary.
He's like, hey, let me listen to Le Batard. Haven't listened to him in a while.
So you're saying I didn't win musical
You
performance?
did not. David Samson, 2
Weird.
Sueys this year.
2-time winner.
Impressive.
Jimbo
Jess,
Fisher should have won Limited Fake.
bridesmaid.
Renee Montgomery next.
Finally, a genuine conqueror in the building. We've got
Thank
finally some strength and some wisdom and some happiness and some power.
We got management in the building. We got ownership over here. Everyone sit up straight.
Let's go. Get it together. Oh, they really did. What's up, good people? I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yes, she's got a photo shoot she's got to go to. She's always between photo shoots. Yes. She's a 2-time NBA champion, co-owner of the Atlanta Dream, and a vice president, right? Co-owner and VP. And she is also a Meadowlark contributor, Renee Montgomery. I am always happy when I see you. I imagine this is an affliction that a lot of people have, right? They immediately get happy when they see you because you're perpetually pouring sunshine all over the place.
I mean, I wake up happy, definitely, but I was hyped to see Mr. Grump. I haven't seen Roy in a minute, so I was so hyped to see Roy.
Mr. Grump? Is that what she just called you?
That's her nickname.
Yes, because he tries to act like he's grumpy, but he's really happy on the inside. I'm sure you guys already know that by now.
No, they don't.
I feel like if I had that nickname for Roy, it wouldn't go over so well.
Oh, yeah, that would be an HR issue. But we don't have HR.
See, but Renee sees you more clearly. We do now. We do now.
What?
Have it. Yes, we do have. We've had HR. Yes, that was fun.
I would like to report Chris right now.
We do have HR. Yes. You didn't know we had HR, Billy?
I did not.
Why is it news
We have some
to
catching
everyone?
up to do. JK.
It shouldn't be news that we have HR, but it is nice to see you. It's always nice to see you, Renee. I have a ton of questions about things, and I know you're here for a good time and a fun time, but you did meet Kamala Harris recently,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know whether that was a fun time and a good time. I don't know what that was all about. How did you
fire.
enjoy that?
That was fire. I mean, she invited us to her residence, and it was called Tea with the VP. So I was with it. At that time, we didn't know she was going to be running to be the president.
I asked her.
Doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
told him to play it. I mean,
Her residence. I mean, come on, Dan.
I mean, it was fire. And so I usually kind of stay the whole vote thing and kind of keep it. But it's like, this is about to be fire if we got a woman there. I mean, you guys have been doing it the whole time. It's not been going amazing.
You got that so right.
I would say not well, too.
Okay, yes. I mean, I'm trying to put it nicely because there is the male ego
so
that
gentle,
we always
so
have
gentle.
to be careful
You got
with.
that right.
Renee, what's the moment where you're like, what has my life become?
Oh, I think I have those moments almost every week now. Like even my son, I have to start telling him this is not normal. Some of the stuff, like people that he's friends with and people that he knows that calls him little homie, it's like I have to let him know our life is getting beautiful. I mean, it's crazy that once I was an athlete for 11 years, WNBA, but then once I retired and became owner, my life then changed. We know WNBA is catching up now. So when I was a player, it wasn't as flashy. But man, it's just crazy because the people that are at our games courtside now, it's just what a time.
Is that Atlanta that's happening? Is that ownership? I'm not saying that it's not happening for you everywhere, but when you say to your family, this isn't a normal thing, I would have assumed that would have happened more as a player than in ownership.
No, I mean, WNBA right now is different than it's ever been. I mean, and I came in at 2009 to the league. So from 2009 to 2024, everything's different. I mean, even the shoe companies, when I came in, I signed to Nike. I think 80% of the league would be signed to Nike or Adidas. Now you got New Balance. There's just so many different now sponsors coming in. And with sponsors is eyes. I mean, Ted Lasso's at every, I was talking to him on the phone last week. Cue up. Wait,
Sudeikis? It's coming.
Sudeikis, you were talking.
Now, Dan, I got to explain something to Dan. Dan, black people don't know people's names. You just know them as the main character. You've seen them somewhere. So my buddy Jared Ferrara, go ahead and hit it. Everyone just calls him Turtle from Entourage, or Proctor from
Turtle
from
doesn't
Power.
deserve the look at me, Louie. That's not a big
What?
enough.
Oh, no.
Everyone's friends with that guy. I mean,
Wow.
He's a friendly guy.
Has this ever happened where you asked for the look at me, Louis?
And I've been
you got it?
rebuffed. No, that's a first. You witness history over here.
Yikes.
But yeah, so you're talking to Ted Lasso.
No, I mean, and that was just that's just the thing. Ted Lasso's at so many WNBA games. He's a WNBA fan. I don't know how many A-list celebrities are super stands when I came in at 2009. They weren't necessarily at the games. Maybe Lil Wayne was super standing Skylar Diggins in college and Drake in college for Skylar Diggins, but I could just name them on one hand.
You have such an interesting perspective because you've seen so much of this growth to be in power in this position now where you're seeing all of it explode, but you've been in the middle of it throughout. And a whole lot of male ego is coming to criticize and analyze and opine on things that we don't necessarily know about to be a part of the conversation. So let's play Charles Barkley on the Bill Simmons podcast talking about some of what it is that surrounds Caitlin Clark.
Oh, no, not Chuck. What's he going to do?
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. People believe what we say on television. just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. This girl is incredible. The number of attention, eyeballs, she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. But these ladies, who I love and respect their game, they couldn't have this thing up any worse. There's been so much negativity, and a lot of it is just petty jealousness.
Oh, my God.
What's going on with those glasses Chuck's wearing?
He looks like a grandma.
Jeez. I got some negativity towards Chuck's glasses. Man.
Oh, no. Who are the women that he's talking about? WNBA players? Who are these ladies?
It is a good question.
I'm just curious. You know how when
just
they be
ladies,
like they?
Just petty women.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there, and that's my guy. I mean Turner. It's crazy because I think that there are two different entities. I think that there's Caitlin Clark, and then I think there's Caitlin Clark fans. I think that the human basketball player Caitlin Clark, she's obviously amazing. Rookie of the year. You know what I mean? Like this, it's that simple. Like she's doing things that we see great rookies do. I played in an era of the Maya Moores and the Candace Parkers. So I know what good and great players look like. That's Caitlin Clark. Then you have the Caitlin Clark fans. I don't know what that is. Sometimes I think that there's an agenda happening with these fans where I sent out a tweet and it went viral. I had no idea it was going to go viral. I put out, Asia Wilson is the only one competing with Asia Wilson for MVP. She had just gotten 41 points and a standing ovation from the opposing team. They're chanting MVP in an opposing arena. I'm like, that's new. Like, I never seen that. I tweeted that out. It went viral in the worst way possible. The Caitlin Clark fans were very upset. I'm assuming they thought it was a slight to them, but I would have thought, if anything, Nafisha Collier fans should have been the ones mad. She's probably the next closest one, and she's not close.
Dan, I'm going to give you the greatest comp to Caitlin Clark because what you just said, I felt the same way about this guy. Rest in peace. Kobe Bryant. Love Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant fans called him Kobistanis. I said it came from the great nation of Kobistan, and they always support their supreme leader. And so I would say things like that had nothing to do with nothing. Like, wow, what a great game. How great is Steph Curry plays? He's not as great as Kobe. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Who even brought up his name?
Exactly.
And so that's what we're dealing with. Also, want to point out, Charles Barkley looks like Medea does a podcast.
Well,
wow.
The glasses. Chuck's my guy. I love you, Chuck, but
you can't say I love you to somebody and then call them Medea.
Yes, you can.
The glasses.
Hey, you listen to the show?
I I should listen more. I'm just saying, but I don't know. I just think it's been an interesting growth. Like for me, I love it. Like if you have to have thick skin to be an athlete anyway, so they're all in my mentions right now, calling me everything, and it's like, oh, that's what's up. Like,
well, you should love it as an owner now, because this part is fascinating to me, right? The Atlanta Dream and the WNBA in general were at the front of the culture wars in a way that helped make Renee who she is today. And so for you now to see that everybody wants to talk about just the culture war between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that is Magic and Larry for the modern day. Like, you need it to have a bunch of garbage in it where people care unreasonably about some dumb stuff instead of just the basketball.
Absolutely. I mean, because you got what's going on over here?
Oh, you just saw it, huh?
Tyler Perry's Medea does a podcast.
Wow, you guys are fast, and there is that. But to your point, I have no comments.
I love you,
on
Chuck.
this.
I love you.
No comments. But I do think that it's like there's some people that watch sports because of sneakers. Like there's some people that watch sports because they think the players look good. So of course there's gonna be people that watch sports for other reasons. That's a fine in sports, by the way. Your phone ringing. We at a meeting right now.
It's a fine here. It's $10. Demand it. Renee, demand it from him.
It's normally a sound that gets it off here.
Well, Jess gets it.
I feel like I do owe you money.
Run me some money. Run me. Ooh,
what does that run out?
Shut up, run me my money. Yes. So. As I was saying, checks in the mail. For real. I just think that, yes, there's the Angel Reese, there's the Caitlin Clark situation. I don't have a dog in the fight. I be like, Caitlin Clark fans should know I'm all things Atlanta Dream anyway, so I don't really care, but I love to see it. Like, I love to see that Angel Reese's games are selling out. I love to see the Shy Barbie. I love to see what she's doing. She has her own shoe line, Engine A. She's with Reebok. This didn't happen normally to 2 rookies. So I don't really care. Yes, it's a race war. I know a lot of the WNBA fans, the women's basketball historians like myself, they hate it. I mean, they want those fans gone, but it's just like, it's stats. They're a stat to the WNBA now.
So players often, when they think they know everything and then they make the transition usually to coaching or just front office, then they learn, oh, wow, there's this whole other side that I did not realize and I did not appreciate as a player or did not fear enough as a player. For you now, you're not only front office, you're also ownership. What are some things you're like, oh, I had no idea it was like this?
Man, I don't even have enough time for that. I thought I was going to come in and us and me, Larry, Suzanne, we thought we was about to shake some stuff up. We're like, all right, we want to do this. And then we started to see exactly why that stuff isn't done. It's like there's rules to how much you can gift players on your team. And we're like, these are professional athletes. This amount is extremely low. I don't even know what the amount is. It's something below 500.
It's like a gift card.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Something I get my son's birthday. Like, and so we started to realize that, like, okay, there's systematic problems that we can't just do, right? Unless we want to break the rules. So then there's 2 different worlds. You got ownership groups that they might not care to kind of push it to the edge and play along with the rules, but it's tough if you want to follow the rules and you want to spoil your players. That's kind of where we're at. So there were so many things where we would love to do. It's getting there now. I mean, we have private flights now, which is new. I didn't think that was going to happen during this CBA, but the WNBA is growing along with everything. You know, we're 7 years old. There's a lot of growth. Like, we have room for improvement.
How do you think that the new 3-on-3 Unrivaled League might shake up some of the stuff with WNBA contracts and off-season play?
Well, it won't shake up WNBA contracts because there's the prioritization clause that this is technical now, but WNBA players now have to prioritize the WNBA. If you're not in your rookie contract, you have to report to the first day of training camp or you could get suspended. So really what Unrivaled does is it allows people to get a check in the offseason. I think it's going to be huge. The names that they already have, I think they have 18 of the how many ever people. And them names are unreal. Paige Beckers has already signed on. My UConn pup, her and herself. It's like they're doing it here in Miami. I just realized we're here in Miami. I only say that because, like, if they was doing it in Idaho, I don't know how many players might be like, yeah, sign me up for my off season. You know what I mean? But they pulled up sexy Miami. I think it's gonna be dope. Like I'm gonna pull up definitely one time. Are y'all gonna activate around it? Y'all doing something?
We have to.
I mean, if I don't get like floor seats from John Skipper, I don't know what we're doing here.
The Angel Reese commentary that Stugotz had before you got here, I think, is something that you need to hear, Renee.
What was you saying?
Well, I was asking Renee if it's really a single-season rebounding record, if what you're rebounding is your own shot.
Oh, gosh. Is he a Caitlin Clark fan?
No.
So here we go.
Sounds like it.
This is a stat that's been out there that if you take away Angel Reese's offensive rebounds of her own shots, she will still lead the WNBA in offensive rebounds.
How dare you come back at me with facts?
I'm sorry. I know that we're supposed to be just out here saying anything, but it's like Angel Reese is doing some crazy stuff. And if people think that it's crazy that she just rebounded her own shots, why doesn't the other team stop her? I'm mad that she got like 19 boards on us in the Atlanta Dream. I'm like, what's going on? You know that's what she's going to do. That's how you know a player's great.
And Moses Malone did it all the time, and we all thought it was amazing. Like that's the funny thing is,
faux.
It's kind of like the same thing that Chuck was talking about right there. He's complaining. I'm like, Chuck, like this is what happens in the NBA all the time. You got a rookie who comes in with a little bit of pizzazz or whatever.
And Charles Barkley complains about NBA all the time too. So I don't take no offense to it. Have you watched the show? I mean, that's what they do is they complain. And so he's complaining about WNBA. It's almost like a rite of passage.
Renee, it's not only that he made up, he said a lie. He made up his own stat and said that she rebounds 90% of her rebounds come off of her own shot.
Who said that? Stugotz?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Who's the researcher here that gives him his research?
Taylor.
Taylor.
In HR.
Blame Taylor.
In HR. The researchers with HR. Nice seeing you, Renee. Always nice
Love
seeing you.
you guys, man.
Not
Love
enough
you guys.
time. Not
Love
enough
you
time.
guys.
George Karl is an old-time friend of this show, and I will tell you before we start this that he has fought and won against throat cancer and continues to fight through whatever the difficulties of speech are caused by that throat cancer. But George Karl is tonight doing a Hoopers for Harris event where he's getting involved with politics. And I wanted to welcome in our old friend back into the fold to talk about what he's doing tonight. George, we're happy to see you, George. It's always nice to see you. One of the most outspoken coaches in the history of the NBA, 6th on the all-time NBA wins list, Hall of Fame coach, always willing to speak his mind. And on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, he's hosting a Zoom event, a big one. He's calling it Hoopers for Harris. George, you are following the Steve Kerr trend, the Popovich trend of all of a sudden getting into politics with your big mouth. What are you doing?
I've always been a fairly progressive-minded thinker. I haven't been as vocal as Steve or Pop. But I'm like a lot of people. There's something about this election that seems to be different, seems to be more important. And, I'm a lot like the world right now. I'm kind of fed up with politicians. But I think right now we got to make the right choice. And going back to Trump is not my answer. My answer is to move on, evolve, and try to get some new ideas in there.
Well, what are you doing with this, though? Why are you doing it? Explain to me the movement as you feel it.
Well, I think I feel it, and I think my family feels it. And I just think some of the policies have to be changed. The environment, abortion, civil rights, whatever you want to talk about. We have a lot of struggles going on that I think it needs more clarity and more leadership. I don't want to go back to the Trump leadership of bullying and lying and fibbing and spinning. And I think why we're doing it is, I think we all know that it's probably to raise some money along the way. But I think it's more to arouse the middle class, the middle, moving towards the middle from a standpoint of political makes a lot of sense to me. We got the crazies and we got the conservatives. I don't think those two should be leading us. I think the middle should lead us a little more.
The call is Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and you can RSVP at hoopersforharris.org, hoopersforharris.org. It seems to me, George, that every time I see you aggregated or anyone quoting you these days on anything basketball related, it's because you and Melo are still feuding in public. I want you to stop, George. I want both of you.
We need to come together, George.
Yes, it's a time of great division, George, and I believe that if you were to announce that hoopersforharris.org would be a place where you will finally announce that you and Carmelo have come together for the rest of time and you will stop criticizing him publicly in any way, can we do that as a political movement?
Yes, I'll agree to that.
Okay, so what do we have to do to get you to to actively make sure that it doesn't happen again? Because I don't trust you. I think you're going to agree to it, and then somebody's going to ask you a question about Melo, and you're going to fall into the trap.
You can't resist.
How do we make this official that you're not going to feud with Melo anymore publicly?
Tell the people not to ask the question.
Well, no, but that's not you.
They're going to ask it, George.
That's not you taking the high road because you know how much people love this stuff. Carmelo was a polarizing star. You're 6 on the all-time win list. You always say what you think, and so therefore it becomes about what a selfish player Carmelo was.
I'll think about announcing it in some way for you, Dan.
Wow.
Okay, so that'll be a part of hoopersforharris.org, and our audience needs to go there to make sure to hold George to his word, that he announce it, that he remembers to announce during this, okay, I'm done. I'm going to take the high road because we need to be unified at a time of division.
What a great message for the rest of the country, because if George can bury the hatchet, if Carmelo can bury the hatchet, we all could bury the hatchet.
That is correct.
All right.
George, when you look at being 6th on the all-time win list, do you have one victory that for you, and this is a difficult question, obviously, but do you have one victory that stands out above any of the others and all of the others?
Yeah, I think the Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals to get us to the NBA Finals against Utah. It was an incredible game. It was a very, very defensive-minded game with Stockton and Malone going against Kemp and Payton. And it came down to making free throws in the last minute. Sean made 2, Karl Malone missed 2. And it was one of the best series I've ever coached in. I love that game and that series. And the one opportunity to get to the NBA Finals, that was probably the game I'd call on my past.
On the opposite end, is there one that's any worse than you losing as a 1 seed with Kemp and Payton in a 5-game series, and you wouldn't have lost, I don't think, if it had been a 7-game series?
Yeah, I think that's the most miserable loss I've ever had. I had trouble getting over it all summer long. I can't deny I live in Denver, so it comes up all the time.
George, how the hell is Sean Kemp not in the Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. I think some of those players in Seattle, not only Sean, but I mean, Detlef Schrempf was a great player, and then didn't get a lot of accolade. I always thought that Seattle kind of was on the West Coast, and we didn't get a lot more. We didn't get the East Coast attention that we probably deserved. But he's a dynamo that Sean deserves in. And he's better than a lot of players that are in the Hall of Fame. I don't know, maybe towards the end of his career where he faded quickly might be the reason, but I agree with you. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Does George Karl ever dare to say publicly, that guy doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame? What the hell's he doing in there? Or even privately, do you hear a Hall of Fame announcement and are like, come on, the college and pro basketball Hall of Fame has to be more discerning than that?
Probably not. I think it's probably I would like to see some guys like assistant coaches get into the Hall of Fame. I think some role players like Robert Horry should get into the Hall of Fame.
Big shot, Bob.
I mean, the intangibles of the game of basketball are really, really important, but they don't get the spotlight very much. And the little things win championships. And there are guys like Bruce Bowen, Nate McMillan, guys that were glue guys that help you win a championship.
A Hall of Fame of little things. I like that.
I do too.
Seriously.
Yes, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Should assistant coaches be in the Hall of Fame? At Le Batard Show. What is the littlest thing that you would put in this Little Things Hall of Fame that is needed for basketball success, Karl? You can only put one of the characteristics that you regard as a little thing in the Hall of Fame. What is your first ballot Little Thing Hall of Famer?
I would say locker room leadership.
And who would you regard as the one in your career who exemplified it the most?
He's getting into the Hall of Fame this year, Chauncey Billups.
Chauncey Billups.
Mr. Big Shot.
As a player. Thank you, Stugotz. I appreciate you being there for us on all fronts. Chauncey Billups.
We need a guy who wasn't the best player, but was a locker room leader, because that guy would get into the Small Thing Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying?
That does make sense. Everything you guys are saying makes perfect sense. With the sport today, George, when I honestly can't believe, like I'm stupefied as we talk here, that Carmelo and Dwayne Wade are now on podcasts talking about what their career was while LeBron still plays and while LeBron still scores 25 points a game. If you would answer for us the question that Stugotz is always dying to ask anybody and then yell at them when they give the wrong answer. When you put LeBron James and Michael Jordan next to each other, would George Karl ever dare to say that LeBron is better? No.
I have dared to say it's better, but I can never get there. But I mean, what LeBron is doing today is amazing. And I kind of come back to saying that LeBron might be the most talented player ever to play in the NBA. But I still think Michael's the best player ever to play in the NBA.
George, what does that look like? You trying to get there?
He's daring to, and then he backs off. Like he wants to do it, and then he keeps getting scared and backing away from the cliff. He's a brave man, but then he gets scared, and he that's it, right? Is that how you dare to do it, but then never do it?
I think we all know it's totally two different generation of basketball. And LeBron deserves the 2000, and Michael deserves the 90. LeBron deserves the 21st century, and Michael deserves the 20th century.
But Michael deserves history.
That's where I'm going to go.
Who is your favorite player to watch right now, George?
Jean Morant.
Wow.
That was quick, and he didn't play all of last year. Did you find the Celtics championship run satisfying to you? What did you think of them dominating the sport from beginning to end?
You know, anybody that's coached in the NBA a long time, the two teams they don't like are the Lakers and the Celtics. But I want to tell you, I really thought the Celtics earned their championship. They had the most talented team all year long. And in many ways, they dominated the NBA. And now the NBA has an enemy. They know who they got to shoot at. Boston's not going to go away. And I think it's going to be a hell of a year coming up.
Are you of the belief that Wembanyama is going to be winning all the championships in 3 years?
I am not. I still like my man Jokic here in Denver more than like Wembanyama. But I think he'll win a championship.
Are you of the belief that Jokic has no precedent as a player and that you would be willing to already put him top 5 all time as a basketball player?
Ooh. I think he's top 10. I don't know about top 5.
Give him time.
Right. George, I have the perfect small things guy for the Hall of Fame, okay? You coached him, Nate McMillan. That is a guy, that is the epitome of doing all the small things, right?
That's a great example of it. I think Boston kind of had a Hall of Famer in Holiday.
Yes!
You are so strange, Stugotz. Stugotz is here celebrating.
I like the little things,
He's
Dan.
connecting with George Karl over the little things. The call is Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's always good talking to him. I will tell you to RSVP at hoopersforharris.org. And I will also ask you to hold George Karl. George, we're not going to let you forget. You have promised our audience that you are publicly going to put down the sword in your feud with Carmelo Anthony in the name of being unified. So we're going to hold you to it, all right?
I'm not going to ask you any more questions. You're right. I'm not going to criticize him anymore on public policy.
Thank you, George. Good seeing you, sir.
Okay, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, George.